What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights. And guess what? We got a 12-1 football team to talk about. Let's go. What is going on with my computer and my life? But did I mention we have a 12-1 football team? Of course, this is not where it's supposed to be. This is amazing. This is amazing. Jalen Hurts MVP?
Oh my God! Oh my I'm embarrassed! You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time. Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we're brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. You can win great prizes. Sign up today. Make sure you use our promo code A2D. You get $50 right at sign up, and you can download FanUp right on the Apple Store. Go check them out. They're so interactive. Come challenge me. I say it every week. Challenges are always accepted. Greg Moakovic, Michael Koromiak, Frank Vespi, Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, welcome in. We'll do locks of the week like we do at the end of every Wednesday. Every Wednesday show. NFL Week 15 predictions. So obviously we go through the whole slate of games. And then if you're just joining us for the first time, we give you our locks. But we get picks for every game. So have a little fun with that at the end of the show. Eagles, Bears, preview is our main topic at hand. We'll give players of the game, give our score predictions, and an opportunity for everybody out there to win some fuzzles, win a little walking around money if you hit the score. Nobody's done it. We are 13 weeks in to the Eagles season, and nobody's won anything. But we're going to keep the number at 200. 200 for the winner. See if anybody gets it. That ties into our poll question brought to you by BOAGGIO'S Bread. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They're the home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs, desserts. I got some cannolis here right now. I mean, they're delicious. And you can use promo code A2D and get 10% off your in-store purchase. I didn't eat one yet tonight, but I dabbled with one earlier. You know, before the show, you try to cut down so you don't fall asleep.
Of course.
I love how you preface it with tonight.
Just wanted to confirm. There's been a taste test, just not right before the show. You know what I mean? It's a lot to take in. A lot of dessert. Dessert, you want to go to bed. You give me dessert, I'll take 14 naps off a good, healthy dessert. Our poll for tonight, the Eagles will have a double-digit win over the Bears this Sunday. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. Give us reviews if you like to. Most importantly, comment in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And remember, you can give your score prediction right now, an offensive defensive player of the game, and get it out of the way if you want to. And make sure you screenshot it. And if you hit the score, send it over to us. With your Venmo, Cash App, whatever you got, chance to win $200. This Sunday's weird. And you know, as I look deeper into what was said last night or whenever Micah wanted to talk, was like it's almost like he wants you to start thinking about them in a weird way, like in a weird psychological way of this is the definition of trap. This is, hey, trap, if there's a trap. I don't know how much I believe in traps in the NFL, but if there is a trap game, this is the definition of one. You're sandwiched between two division rivals. You got a big one coming up against Dallas. Could be a little trap game. So was that like to make us think about them and trap us a little bit? So that game on Christmas Eve is even closer in terms of record-wise than it is right now? I don't know. But even with that, this football team's so talented, they can look 3 weeks from now. In reality, like, who's for me to say they can't? Because they're not going to. All right? No matter what you say, no matter how you try to phrase it, can they lose Sunday? It's the NFL, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like Justin Fields could run for 200 yards. You know what I mean? And we're like, what has happened? Right? Like, what happened? How we lose? It's the leg, right? So that's their big guy. All right. And that's their big play guy. And that's the only guy who can really keep them in this football game. Right? It's him and essentially their running game. But like I said against the Giants, this team's not good enough. It's another team that's not good enough to hang with you if you're enough focused, right? If you're enough focused on this football game, it should be a double-digit win. Should be a double-digit win. And everything we've seen from this football team leading up to this, there's no reason to think they're going to just let down. No, it is an important game. You are still fighting for that 1 seed. That ain't locked up. That's not over with. You lose this week, you lose next week. Right? I mean, we could become a real problem up in here. Real problem. And we're panicking. Right? It's a huge game. Until you lock up a number 1 seed, these games are huge, especially with Dallas looming. So knowing what we know from this football team all year long, the lack of talent Chicago has outside of their quarterback, right? And how important it is to lock up this 1 seed. How could I say this game's close? I mean, how? I need to know. Besides, like I said, besides Justin Fields rushing for 200 yards somehow, how's this game close? Besides, it's in Chicago. Well, we're undefeated on the road. So, how's it close? I need to know. I need to know. I need the people out there to tell me how Chicago stands a chance, even if the Eagles have got 1 foot in Dallas. They got 1 foot in Arlington, and I still don't know how Chicago stands a chance in this football game. So I agree. It's double digits, and we go from there.
To answer your question, how does Chicago keep it close? 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles by the Eagles, which I don't see happening ever, especially this game, right? Like you said, it's the NFL. Can it be a trap game? Sure, right? Because of Micah Parsons' comments, because of obviously how Dallas is a way bigger threat and way more relevant than the Bears, just for numerous different reasons. Yeah, it could be a trap game. You can play a C- level product as an Eagles team, both offensively and defensively, and still come out by winning by double digits, in my opinion. Justin Fields, like we've all talked about, like you just said, he's the X factor in this because he can use his legs. But when you talk about like skill position players, Chase Claypool, when he's not doing a TikTok, okay, fine. Equanimous St. Brown, no. I don't even think Darnell Mooney's healthy. Their secondary is maybe the worst secondary in the league. So you see what A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith do against good or just mediocre secondaries. Now you face a bad secondary that's banged up. That's not, at least it shouldn't be good for Chicago. Their defensive linemen, well, one of them's on our team, one of their best ones. He's on IR for us. So they've made a couple of their top players they traded 5 weeks ago. Running backs are okay. The offensive line is not great. It's not terrible. It's not great. I feel like that's a compliment to them. That's not terrible. They're a bad football team. And we're a great football team. So as long as we don't have a game similar like we did against the Commanders a few weeks ago on Monday night, you come out and you say, okay, you win. Are we all healthy? All right, let's gear up for the Cowboys game on Christmas Eve. It's pretty simple as that. Now, those games can be dangerous because it's you might be looking ahead. But really, I was trying to dig deep into is there something hidden in the numbers that we have to be worried about Chicago? No, they're 29th in total defense. They're 20th in total offense. They turn the ball over. They don't really cause a ton of turnovers, and that's when they were healthy. They're a bad football team. So
they stink.
Yeah, this should not be competitive in the fourth quarter. But the only reason why I'm not doing lock of the year or we win by 20, it's because it's the NFL and weird stuff happens. But yeah, I agree. I don't expect this to be stressful at all.
No, we're way better than them. This is not even there's no way. We could play like we did against Washington and still beat them by double digits. So I mean, that's how they're not good. They're just not good. Their quarterback's young still, and their only weapon is his legs. Well, you got a different animal coming to town. Because what we say about top fives, about top tens, definitely top five defenses, is those types travel. And this football team's traveled all year defensively, and there's no reason for me to think they won't. There's just no reason. I think they have too many great leaders for trap bullshit. Not saying they can't ever lose a game. I'm talking about overlooking somebody. I just don't. I don't think this team has that makeup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give a little bit of credit to Justin Fields. I think he's kind of where Jalen was in year 2. He has made strides forward. I think he's going to end up being a really good quarterback in this league. He's going to be a guy that the Bears finally can look at and say they have a franchise quarterback. They need to put a few more pieces around him because Mooney is probably his best wide receiver, and Mooney's probably, a number 2 on a really good team. Huh?
Would you say? They got to do what? They got to do what? They got to do what? The Bears have to do what to help Fields out?
Put more pieces around him.
Oh, yeah, I just that shot at you. I was just confirming for the people. They're like,
oh, yeah.
Hey, that helps. Morons.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, because that's the whole Jalen thing, right? It's no, you're right, though. He has no pieces, this and that. And then, last year, they're comparing him to what he did last year, right? But last year, his best wide receiver might have been Quez Watkins and maybe Devontae. Who
probably,
also took a step forward this year. All of a sudden, he gets a number 1 wide receiver, and people are using that as an excuse to not give him any credit this year.
Well, Josh Allen. Yeah, Josh Allen got a number 1 and looked better.
Yeah.
Happens. Funny how that
Tyreek Hill,
Tom
Kelsey.
Tom, once we're done with the poll, I have a whole thing. I have a whole thing on it.
Here's the deal. You brought up the Micah thing, which is totally fine. I don't know the weird comment that said why you shouldn't bring that up. But the Micah thing, that doesn't worry me because we have a quarterback who has proven this year, who came into this year with a lot more people than Micah Parsons throwing criticism his way. And guess what he's done? He's done nothing but rise to the occasion, answer the bell, and he has done exactly what his coach tells him says every week. We got to go 1-0 this week, and that's what his focus is on. So in terms of the Chicago Bears, that's the focus. He's not worried about all that noise. So I don't look at that as something that, because Micah decided to speak out this week, trap all that kind of crap. Bottom line, this team is just not on the same level as the Philadelphia Eagles. And at this point, as the season's going on, the Eagles are starting to get stronger. They're playing better teams. They're playing teams with top running backs in the league. When the whole criticism this season has been, well, you know what? The one thing you can criticize them for is their run defense. Well, they just shut down Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley in back-to-back weeks. They made them offenses look real weak. So, I just kind of look at the situation and how can you not agree with this poll? Even if we end up being wrong and they win it by 8 points, 7 points, whatever it is, I feel like at this point, me, I like to disagree or not or go against the grain. But you can't bet against this team every week. It's why when you look at our scores every week, everybody's picking them to win because it's really hard to bet against this team every week. They've proven it. They'll beat you in the air. They'll beat you on the ground. They'll beat you with special teams. They're going to beat you with defense, whatever it takes. They're going to beat you with the quarterback. Whatever it takes, this team has managed to overcome. And this week, again, there's no looking past it. Chicago could be dangerous. They have been a team that has proven against good teams they can put points on the board. It all depends on, which version of Josh Fields you're going to get, what they're, and how many plays he's going to be allowed. But this defense has managed to minimize running games, keep quarterbacks in the pocket, make them have to make plays. Daniel Jones, he's not Josh Fields, but he's a guy who's got some legs on him. We've seen him make plays with his legs against this football team over the last couple of years. And they absolutely shut that shit down. So, no. You absolutely have to agree to this poll question. You got to believe in this quarterback. You got to believe in the way that this defense has been able to shut down running games, which essentially is what I think their strength is right now, the Bears. So, feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I got a double-digit win. I agree to the poll.
Greg?
Yeah, it's tough to disagree, especially when you look at the injury report. Just now, he'll probably play on Sunday, but is as well. But he didn't practice today due to an illness. And you guys, listed. It's funny that you listed every other offensive player, but the only one that's probably worth anything, and that's David Montgomery, is the running back, right? He's probably the only one that's going to have any type of impact in this game, with Fields plays or not, right? Because I just don't think with our secondary, I don't think he can do anything through the air that's going to give them any type of advantage in any way. I mean, this is, you guys have all brought it up and brought up points. Pretty simple. They have less talent than Washington, to your point, right? Like, we can have the top point. We can have half our body in Arlington, ready for Christmas Eve, and they have less talent than Washington, and we still almost won that game, or could have won that game. So yeah, I see a double-digit win. I don't think it's very difficult at all. It might start slow just because of what the NFL is, but I don't think it'll be slow. I don't think it'll be close at all.
Yeah, well, just so you know, the faces weren't in necessarily agreement. The faces were, we didn't know what you were saying because it was cut out. So just so you know, like, we weren't like, we weren't like making fun of you. We just were like, oh,
probably the first like
great point, baby.
Seconds.
Yeah, that might have been. That, well, listen, you might have been right for the first time in your life, and nobody knows. Nobody knows
because nobody heard it.
No, we're solid. We're solid.
The MVP and the 4,000 yards is going to be the other one, bud. You got those.
Yeah. Frank,
and hopefully 2 future tickets too.
Yeah.
Yes.
To quote Jordan Mailata, they got the Chicago Bears, not the Chicago Micah
right.
Parsons. So I agree to the poll.
I thought he froze for real.
No, I kind of got the vibe that he did it, but he's doing it again. Look at him. What was wrong with him?
I don't know. I was dropping my head.
That was a good one
as a baby. Yeah. So, yes, I do agree to the poll. The
only twice
9-point spread twice. Yes,
that's it.
Yes, twice and 7 concussions. So I'm all good here. So I do agree to the poll.
One more, you get a free hat.
Yeah.
I slammed my head off the tile floor, so I mean, I feel you on the concussions.
Lampposts for me. But yeah, the 9-point spread. I'm not too worried about it. You do the math a little bit. It kind of plays more like a double-digit spread for us in our favor. But you know what? I like the focus this team's doing it. They're doing it one game at a time. I'm not worried about Justin Fields. I'm not worried about David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, whatever that O-line is. That O-line is sus, as the cool kids say. You know what? Give me Eagles by, like, I don't know. As Ralph said last week, give me Eagles by more than 20.
Wow, we're quoting
So I agree
Ralph
to the
now.
poll.
We're quoting Ralph.
I know.
Well, I mean, listen, it's hard for this poll to be anything more than a grief fest, right? I mean, you like I said, you really gotta be a jackass. You know what I mean? You really want to start some trouble tonight to come on here and say, yeah, I disagree. This is a close one. No, I mean, nobody's watched football 13 weeks in your team playing, right? Is going to be like, yeah, this is going to be close. So, listen, Justin Fields, like I said early on, he's gotten a lot better. He's progressed, and if you're a Bears fan, you should be excited about that. But unless he rushes for 200, which would be an NFL record, I don't know how they beat us, even if we turn the ball over twice. Like we give the ball to them twice, and so here you go. Here's a free possession. Here's a free possession from the 50 twice, and they probably won't score. So, they'll probably shut me up, and next thing you know, they'll drop like 35, and you'll be like, "What happened here?" So I mean, anything's possible.
It's like, I don't know. I hate saying this, right? Like, it's weird to say this because it always comes back to bite you. But I look at their skill position players, and again, this is with an extremely good to great secondary with us now that we have Matt, and they were great regardless. But they're actually healthy, unless you want to talk about obviously Gardner Johnson being out and Blankenship. But their weapons. So Mooney's out for the season. He's got an ankle injury, so he's out of the picture. We mentioned Claypool. He's a good player, right? I don't think he's worth like a second and a fourth, whatever they traded for him. But
he's worth all the TikTok money.
Sure. Yeah, great. I'm happy for him as a backup career if things go south. The other two wide receivers, like I said, is Equanimous St. Brown. That's not Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's Equanimous St. Brown. And the other one is number one in the Chucks fan club, and that's Dante Pettis. Like, Dante Pettis is their third wide receiver.
Oh, man, I forgot about Dante Pettis.
Yeah, so, like, what do we – is Dante Pettis going to burn Darius Slay? I hope that would be weird. That'd be something that wasn't really in the script. And, like you mentioned, Greg, I think you mentioned David Montgomery. Like, he's good. I think he's probably their second best running back. The other one who's a rookie is Hurts. Khalil Herbert. I think if Khalil Herbert came in here. No, I hear you.
It's a simple formula for the Bears. It's to be able to run the football not only with Montgomery, but run it with Fields and then set up big plays. I mean, that's sort of what the Chicago Bears want to do to you. And we've been a football team that doesn't give up the big play. Like, we're not known to do that. It's not our MO style of defense either. And I think the one positive big thing you can take out of the last few weeks is not only have we stopped the run really well, our front four is getting after the quarterback at a high rate. Yeah, and that's great this time of year. And that's a sign of a really positive sign 13 weeks in that, hey, Beans were so deep at these positions that the rotations are keeping guys fresh, right? And you see a little resurgence of Brandon Graham coming back from the injury, which is gigantic for his football team. So you never want to say things are going perfectly in the right direction, but you're getting pieces back. You're getting healthier at the right time, because this is the time you want to be healthy, right? I mean, this is when you want to play your best football. And I know, Joe, we'll talk about that, Joe, in a little bit. You had a good question earlier on about, if you clinch it too early. Well, I got to believe that, one, we have too many guys who want to win something here. And I think our coaching staff, I don't want to say they're geniuses, but I want to hope that they're smart enough to understand that you can't sit guys for 2 weeks. So that week 18 game that you're playing your guys at least a quarter, at least I would say 4 possessions. I mean, your guys got to play a minimum of 4 possessions. And guess what? I would even play a half. And I know you're going to tell me I'm crazy because of the injury side of things. Listen, man, I can't play scared like that. I got to think about if I want to play my best football in the postseason, a week off is never ideal either, because I feel like teams come out a little slow. But 2 weeks is a problem. 2 weeks, I don't know who's done that. You got to tell me, because I'm not saying I'm right. Who's taken 2 weeks off and went and won a Super Bowl? I need to know those teams, because I'm sure it's been done. I just need to know so that I can make a better educated decision, because I would venture to guess their records probably aren't good. They're probably not, the type of records you would expect, because rest at this point, like, there's too much rest. You're getting a bye week, so you're getting that rest to get your body right. 2 weeks is too much.
Well, I would say in the interest of load management, right?
8 times.
That's popular word now.
Out of how many?
Everything is load management. I would say most of the starters you play first half.
The last 19 years.
Okay. That's solid. 8 out of how many, Greg?
Over the last 19 years.
So 8 teams won a Super Bowl with 2 weeks off? Back to back?
Being the number one seed.
No. I was saying how many teams took 2 weeks off before the playoffs started and won a Super Bowl, which is a hard thing to find out, right? That's not an easy Google.
Yeah, we would have to dissect who's active in week 17.
Yeah, which is hard, which is impossible.
The first team that I thought of that would fit this criteria are all of the Patriots teams when they were great, but then it's
I was thinking the undefeated Pat squad, but even then,
not undefeated
their players at week 17.
Not even the undefeated, because for years that we looked at the AFC East and it's like, oh, okay, that division sucks, and the Patriots are great, so they clinched the division by week 13, and you know what I'm saying, a whole thing. But even Bill Belichick doesn't. I don't remember them being like, hey, Tom Brady, play no snaps. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I just don't think that was ever in their MO.
No, I think you start most of your starters play the first half. Jalen 1 quarter, put Gardner in. He gets some reps with the first unit. run the rest of the game out. To me, Jalen's the asset you really have to protect because you're really done if you lose Jalen. So, but you don't want him to not play at all. You want him to get his reps in. So, I like the idea. Tom said a 4 possessions, but at the very least, give me a half or give me a quarter.
Yeah, I don't think there has to be a set number to it. It's just about getting your reps in, and because you can't make up for game speed, and these guys know that.
Tom, load management.
Yeah, you do. You just listen. You just do it. You just do it right. But and it's funny that we're saying we gotta protect Jalen. It's crazy. It's crazy because we didn't know what to expect coming into this year, and he's been sensational. So
has he though, Tom? Are you sure it's not because he has great teammates?
Well, I mean, you guys. I hope you guys listen.
Around him.
I hope you guys listened to my video earlier because I was going to say everything everybody else is going to say, but like that's what you do. Like that's what good organizations do. They surround their young quarterback with talent. Like that's the goal. And to say this is like the greatest offensive line that's ever been assembled, I think it's a little bit of a reach too, because what helps an offensive line is a guy who can move. All right, I'm just going to riddle everybody that. So don't tell me some pocket guys who can't move are going to automatically succeed in this offense. No, you got to factor in the legs, okay? And then you got to factor in that, like, okay, yes, is there a lot of talent around him? Sure, okay? But you still got to throw the football. You still got to make good decisions. You still got to not turn the football over. You're right. You still got to run when you find the hole to run. I mean, you got to do those things. So you can have all the talent around in the world around you and still stink out loud. So I don't want to ever hear that because I've witnessed guys with a lot of talent not live up to expectations. And I've also watched it the other way for years of watching NFL football, dating back before some people on this show. And one is the Dallas Cowboys. I love Troy. I think Troy's aces, right? But at the end of the day, let's not act like that Troy Aikman carried the Dallas Cowboys to Super Bowls, right? He did enough. Best offensive line maybe of all time, okay? With Nate Newton having ounces in his car and pounds of weed, and it didn't matter, all right? So arguably the best offensive line of all time, in my opinion. If you really go back and look at it, like Eric Williams might kill a guy. Like, I mean, that's how good Philly's own Eric Williams was for the Dallas Cowboys. And the list goes on of their offensive line of Hall of Famers. So, Emmett pretty good. Irvin pretty good. Alvin Harper, right? They were loaded. So he needed talent to win. You think Joe Montana, arguably the best quarterback of all time, right? We're really dating back. He didn't have any talent. I mean, you want to talk about those defenses? You want to talk about Jerry Rice? Okay, you want to talk about those things? So, and if you come to modern day, there's only one guy who can thrive in this league that I've watched, which is you giving him a bunch of number 2 guys. And that's Mahomes. That's the different breed. That's the different dog. Okay? But so you always set up your guy to have success. Now it's up to him to go have success. You can have all the pieces and not thrive either. So watching a guy get better is you should be like, hey, this is what guys are supposed to do. This is what organizations are supposed to do. And look at this kid that's grown in front of our eyes. Watch how he's staying in the pocket. He's trusting his reads. You know why? I'll riddle everybody why. Because there's talent around him for him to trust himself to do it, right? And then you get to a point in your career where it all slows down.
And not to, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, Tom, but even with Mahomes, yeah, he's got a bunch of number 2 wide receivers, but he also has arguably the greatest tight end ever.
No. I know how good Travis Kelce is, but I also have to factor in. You also have to factor in how good Mahomes is.
Oh yeah, he's one of one.
They treat each other well. I'm not saying he has no pieces. I didn't say he had a bunch of guys in street clothes. I say he had a bunch of number 2s. Travis Kelce's a known commodity. Everybody's gonna have one doggy. You know what I mean? Everybody does. His issues are more like that offensive line isn't great. They don't have a great defense, right? They have an okay defense. So it's not like all the stars align for Mahomes, and he's just awesome. And guess what? Nobody's saying Jalen can't do that at some point in his career either. But if you look around the league, like Buffalo defense is loaded, okay? They got a lot of skill position players for Josh Allen. Let's not act like that cupboard's bare with Diggs. Dawson Knox is a good tight end, okay? Gabriel Davis just makes big plays. Their offensive line is a very good one. So if you circle the league, this is what that's called a good team. That's
Josh Allen made his big jump as soon as they signed or traded for. I guess it was a trade. They traded for Stephon Diggs. Like that's
it was over.
I don't know. And it's funny.
Guy had 100 catches that year. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah,
like I think he had 100. He might have had 100 catches his first year with Josh Allen.
The whole Micah Parsons thing is like when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, whatever. A Cowboys player.
Hold on, Ryan. Hold on. Keep that thought. This isn't for me to be clear about this. It had nothing to do with Micah Parsons.
No.
Right? No. You just made me think about something that I've spoken and other people have spoken about here for weeks about. Stop telling me about what's around them. Okay, you still got to be successful. So this conversation is being had. So for people to be like, "Oh, Tom or whoever," like, why are you engaging Micah Parsons? I think Micah Parsons is a sensational player, but I'm engaging the conversation because the conversation doesn't just come from Micah Parsons. The problem is
week 4. It's been going on.
It's from a lot of dry jocks who have no clue what they're talking about. So when a guy who claims to know football like Micah does, who I love Micah, even though I hate him. That he's a Cowboy, but he claims to know football really well. So, Mike, if you know football really well, are you paying attention?
That's exactly it. Like we got forwarded that whole thing maybe 90 times before we actually spoke on it last night, and I was like, okay, a Cowboy's talking about an Eagle. Of course, the Cowboy's not going to say great things about an Eagle. Like I put it on the side, and then when I actually looked at what he said, it has nothing to do with Micah Parsons. Like, there's one thing which I'll read in a second that like Mike is kind of like an idiot for saying, but that's like beside the point. He's literally just echoing what has been said by people who are like paid to do this, people who actually have an MVP vote in this league, like people that should know better that don't. And that is like, once again, we're moving the goalposts for like what is a great player, what's an MVP, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's so many people, whether it's Nick Wright or who, this is not the first time he's said bad things about the Eagles. Some Chiefs fan on FS1 that the last time he said bad things about the Eagles, we won a Super Bowl. So keep doing that, please, because it worked well the last time. All these people, it's like they want to reinvent the wheel and they want to treat it like, oh, no. Jalen Hurts didn't get better and he's not just awesome, right? Because that's what he is. Oh, no, there's got to be like a hidden reason for him getting exponentially better. And then when you actually look at the numbers, it's like, well, the numbers don't help your argument. The numbers say, no, he just got way better. And the eye test doesn't help their argument because the eye test says, oh, no, he just got that much better. Like, it's not the first time, and it's certainly not going to be the last time where a quarterback got better, and you also have some good weapons. Like, we didn't discover fire, right? Like, this isn't the Da Vinci Code where, like, we have to go on a quest to figure out what the great mystery is. It's like, no,
you're supposed to give your starting quarterback,
yes,
at young, old, freaking middle-aged, a number one wide receiver. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what good teams do. I don't understand why it's negative because we did it. So we go get a guy, his boy, and it's negative. It's the first time in pro sports history that something like this is turned into a negative because what's happening is the people who were wrong, and everybody on this panel was, everybody out there was on the development of Jalen Hurts on nobody said he couldn't do it. We just didn't know. There was a lot of unknowns.
We just weren't betting on it. That's all.
But every person, the problem is a lot of people have been able to eat crow. And a lot of people say, this is just sports talk, man. Like, I want this guy to be great. So now I'm going to praise him for putting in the work. But there's the other side of it. And there's people who refuse to give up on it. There's people who are trying to lift up every rock, guys, to say, hey, this is why he'll fail at some point. So if you want to go give him $45 million, don't do it because you won't have the roster. He won't be good anymore. Well, first off, you can circle the league and answer that question yourself. That if you give a quarterback that kind of money, you better be the best. You better have the best drafts in the country. You understand? You better leave with an A+ draft every time. In April or May, right? Every time, boys, you better be the winner of that draft because that's the only way you survive when you do it. It's the only way. Like, nobody does it. Nobody does it. The Chiefs have been leave you with this, boys. The Chiefs have been drafting really well. If you really look at it, like, not great, not sensational. They've been drafting well. So when they give Mahomes the money, they're still able to add some things. They still survive, right?
We're penalizing Jalen Hurts because his organization did something that we were begging them to do with the previous 7 quarterbacks that were here.
Yeah, like, 20 years.
Yes, like years. My entire life as an Eagles fan, we've been begging for it. And
so Vic wasn't good? Vic wasn't good? Like when you had the Sean Macklin McCoy, like he wasn't good? Well, like, no, he was good.
We're going to penalize, and I'm not comparing like Hurts to Tom Brady. Like I'm not doing that before anyone starts typing, but are we going to penalize Tom Brady for having Gronk and Belichick? Are we going to penalize Aaron Rodgers for having Devontae Adams? Are we going to penalize Mahomes for having Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill before this year? Like, no. Like,
well, there's a guy in Denver. There's a guy in Denver who's getting paid a lot of money and has weapons around them who stunk. So it doesn't always 1 + 1 ain't always 2 in this game, babe. And at the end of the day, you still got to get better. That's what nobody understands. And the problem is that we watch the game. We all sit here and we watch it and we dissect it because we love it, right? And when we watch a guy do the things that we were concerned about, it's our job to give credit. It's our job to say, wow, man, in a world where guys get paid and they don't care or get drafted in a slot and think stuff is given to them, to watch a kid get better is what it's all about. So we have a kid in-house who we're watching grow right under our nose, right? Smell that flower, Nick? Because that's what you were talking about, okay? You smell it? And we watch this happen. And there's still people inside this fan base that refuse to just say, wow, man, he got better.
And it's weird energy. It's completely weird. The last thing really quick, this is the only thing I had an issue with Micah Parsons with. Because he says, and you brought it up in your opening thing, where he says like, oh, I'm a student of the game, or I love the game so much. And, when something's up, I got to speak on it. Okay, so you said, I didn't say it, you said, Micah, that you're a student of the game, you love the game so much, all that. Okay, so I would expect somebody who loves the game so much to actually know what you're talking about. He says, direct quote, can you say that he's the MVP if he's not leading statistically or showing up on any top 5 categories, ... like, is that an MVP? Okay. Okay, you're just talking nonsense now, because literally he's in top 5 categories in 5 different categories. So like you're just telling me you're not paying attention. He's first in passer rating, he's first in interception percentage, he's second in total touchdowns, he's third in completion percentage, and he's third in EPA, and he's fourth in total yards.
Well, we know Micah by now, all right? And the reason why he jumped to number 1 on that draft board that night was because of this kind of stuff. The bravado, I don't give a shit. And him and Jalen aren't like enemies either. So when he talks his shit, he's trying to get in his head, right? And he's hoping that it gets in his head. But remember, DeMarcus Lawrence had a lot to say too before the first time we played him. They all got a lot to say, and that's great. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Lane Johnson's healthy, be careful on all the shit you want to talk, Micah. That's all I'm going to say.
My lot is coming after him.
Malata is a different conversation, but because he's a little banged up still, right? Sure. But Lane, if Lane's playing, you better line up on Jordan's side then, and good luck. Best of luck. So I actually, like I said, it doesn't. Like, I'm not here to rank out Jalen Hurts on where he ranks in the NFL right now. I'm not here to do that. I'll do that when the season's over and I can really look at it from, and dissect what we just all witnessed, right? But for the people that are like, he's not better, he's not better than Herbert, he's not better than whatever other quarterback, Allen, he's not better than whatever. Well, right now he is. I hate to break the news to you people. Like right now in this moment, 13 weeks in, he's played better than Josh Allen. He's played better than Joe Burrow. And stop telling me the first thing the Cincinnati Bengals did, the first thing they did, not Penei Sewell, not things we thought they should do. They said, I'm going to go get my guy, his guy. And then what happened? We talk about offensive line issues and all the rest, and they still went to the Super Bowl because he got a guy, his guy. So does Burrow stink? No, he doesn't. Or is Burrow not good enough or not a true franchise quarterback? He absolutely is. But stop acting like he doesn't have talent around him. Okay? Like, I mean, I love the conversation. They all do. But who's playing the best right now? And even the great Patrick Mahomes, because I consider this guy great, right? I just do. He's special. Jalen's probably better than him right now, too.
Mahomes.
I mean,
Go ahead, Greg.
Jalen's probably the only quarterback in the NFL you could say has not had a bad week.
Yeah, Mahomes is.
He hasn't had an off game.
Mahomes
he might not have
the interception lead.
Yeah, he might not have a great passing game, but he's going to rush, right? You know what I mean? Like he's the only guy right now in the NFL through 13 weeks, or 15 in the NFL, but 13 for Jalen, who hasn't had a bad game. You can't say that for everybody else. And a lot of it comes down to, or most of it comes down to, what we've praised him for all year is he doesn't turn the football over. Right? He's not going to have that. He's not going to have that game where it's 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Right? That just hasn't happened yet.
I think Mahomes,
and that's huge.
I think Mahomes in this past week threw more interceptions in like a course of 4 hours than Hurts threw all season. I think that's like a real stat.
I mean, the
I
toast
think
of
it
the
is.
NFL, the toast of the NFL,
long.
Tua came back to earth, and he's got talent. You know what I mean? Like, what happened with Tua? All of a sudden, what? His talent's not good enough now for him, right? Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle aren't good enough for him, right? Like, so that talent works both ways.
3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Patrick Mahomes last week.
Greg, it's all an excuse. It's all like, he's got the greatest
Mm-hmm.
offensive line of all time. Can you knock it off? He's got two Hall of Famers on that line. That's what he has. So don't please Jordan Mailata is very, very good, but hasn't had a great year because of the injury. Okay? Landon Dickerson, I like Landon. I think he's gonna be really good. He's had an okay year. It's not they're okay years. Isaac, I like Isaac a lot too. He's had an okay year. Like, they're not like, yes, do they road grade? Sure, they road grade. Sure, we know how good they are as run blockers, but like, let's not act like our protection's been like lights out. Like, it's been good. It's been good. I don't know where they rank in Pro Football Focus fucking bullshit rankings. Cool. Of course they do, because they fucking dry jocks. Okay, but what they don't account for, they account for a quarterback who can run around. Listen, I'm not discrediting this offensive line. I'm just saying. Am I by saying it's not the best of all time? Is that discrediting, or is that factual?
I mean, you're not.
No, come on,
that's something Dax had.
Is that factual?
I mean, you're knocking some pegs. You're sounding like the Micah Parsons of the offensive line over here.
Hell.
Just knocking some pegs down.
Jordan Water's a good player.
He's just trying to poke holes.
Is Jordan Water a good player?
Poke holes.
Is Jordan Water a good player?
He's a phenomenal player.
Is he a good player right now? Has he had a good year?
Good enough year.
Okay, so we're there. Okay, has Landon had a sensational second season?
Phenomenal.
Stop. He's been good. I mean, he's been good. Jason Kelce, we know Jason Kelce. We don't have to have a conversation about that. I already told you. Has Isaac been great?
He's been good.
Okay, Crum, you just made my point out of 2 of them. Okay, that's not the greatest offensive line of all time. It's a very good one. And an offensive line I'll take all the time. But, like, let's not act
probably one of the best offensive lines of the last decade.
Last decade?
Yes.
I think you're outlandish right now.
I think that it's an absolutely not.
There was offensive lines in New England for a guy who couldn't move that protected for like 45 minutes. So yeah. I would be careful with that one Super Bowl. That this is like, come on. Now you make me sound like a freaking hater. That on a
well, you are.
It's the top 5 offensive line in football. Okay, that's factual. I'll never run from that. But let's not. Okay, that's Pro Football Focus, Crum. I don't care. All right, I don't care even though I asked you.
No, that's it everywhere. Everywhere.
Okay, they're the number 1 rank, but you don't factor in the ability of a quarterback running around that can move. Like, you don't understand. You're not factoring all that in. I said how they're road graders, but in the pass protection side of things, I'm not going to go out there and say it's the best pass protecting offensive line in NFL history. I'm just not going to do that. I think they're good. They're very good.
But why does it have to be NFL history?
Because I'm trying to make the point that it's not like he's surrounded by the greatest talent of all time, and nobody's ever been surrounded by more. That's all I was trying to make.
He's surrounded by the greatest line of the league this year, though.
Okay, yeah, I said top 5 somewhere in there. Sure,
probably one of the best.
As Dak also had his whole career.
Yeah, like we're be understanding the top 5 is not a shot. I think this offensive line is top 5. I don't know where. Okay, there's weeks they haven't been one, in my opinion, Crow. Okay, there's weeks that I think they haven't been as good as they're supposed to be, and that's true too. So let's not, like I'm saying, we don't factor in the ability of a quarterback who can move helps you out up front in pass blocking. That's for anybody that has a quarterback that can do that, right? Like Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, right? I mean, Lamar, he runs all around. But like anybody,
those kinds of quarterbacks can never technically have the best offensive line in football because you can't factor in their ability to run. So they can never be like a great.
Why are you making this about? Line. What is wrong with you tonight?
This is a weird argument.
Dude, I don't know what you're saying. I'm not taking a shot at him. Defending
that damn onesie causing all this.
Am I going
really
crazy?
Weird. It's a really weird hill to die on, to be honest.
You're making me sound like a hater. Like I think this offensive line isn't damn good. Like I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to make it make sense to you. I think some guys have had down years in terms of expectations. Okay, and I think other guys have had sensational years. But that goes around football. That's how football works, right? In every sport. So I would say two guys on that offensive line have had tremendous seasons. And I would say the other three have had good seasons. Is that okay? That's okay. That's allowed to be said. Jordan Moore is not going to a Pro Bowl this year. All right. Isaac's not going to one, and Landon's not going to one. So they're not going to be selected to all pro teams. So you circle back to me when they're not on one. Maybe second. Ain't none of them three getting first team all pro nods. None of them. The only two would be Kelsey and Lane, and they both are deserving. That's what makes this line damn good. You just love Jordan that you feel like I'm taking a shot. I know your truth. You're one of a kind.
My son, watch your mouth.
Frank, anything to add to that conversation?
I don't know what.
It's fine, Frank. Just freeze your screen again.
Thank you, Frank. Good job.
Dynamite drop in, Frank.
Well, Red Sand, talk your shit, Chrome. Just don't stand up in that onesie, that fluffy shit around your neck, messing with your brain. Tell him, Red Sand. I do agree. I think it's going to be a fun Sunday. Fields versus Hurts should be fun to watch. And it's a true test defensively for, a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys around the league claim that he's the fastest. So at the quarterback position. So it's definitely a test on keeping contained, staying in your gaps, making open field tackles. So, I mean, that's not going to be an easy task.
Speaking of weird arguments, here's one. Through 2 years, you're looking at that draft class with obviously, you look at Fields, you look at Lance, you look at Zach Wilson, you look at Lawrence. Would you say, who would you say you have the most confidence in? Oh,
it's not even close.
It's Lawrence?
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine. Okay.
Yeah. And that's not a shot at the other guys. And that guy, that dude's a legit franchise quarterback and just waiting to fully say hello. Like in terms of being able to
be able to look around a corner and be like,
yeah. Well, you get a real coach too, helps you. Mm-hmm. You get a real coach, a 2B guy, and
he's going to have their hands full this week.
I think they are too, Crum.
There's no guarantee in walking out with a victory in that game. It's just going to depend, like you guys said, what kind of game plan Dougie P has come up and what kind of Trevor Lawrence shows up for this game.
Yeah. Well,
that's been their issue all year, right? You think of when we played us, they came out firing, and then almost like the rookie Trevor Lawrence showed back up for the second through fourth quarter, right?
What do we say about Jalen?
Stuff like that.
What do we say about Jalen? Year three. When we talk about Jalen, we talked about, hey, what does he do his junior year? And then you talk about a guy like Lawrence, Fields, etc. How much of a jump did they make next year? So we've watched them both make jumps over this year, and we watched the other guys say, I'm not going to jump too much. He's made the biggest. Lawrence has made the biggest overall jump because we already know he can run around and got a cannon. But it's just the eyes tell you he's really grown.
If anything, if I'm looking at a trap game, I'm looking at this as a trap game for Dallas because it seems very clear to me that there's some people on that.
Where's that game at?
Over
Jacksonville.
It's in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Some people are very clearly overlooking this game and already looking at Christmas Eve. So to me, if anything, this tees up almost a little bit for a trap game for for Dallas here.
Hey, pot, meet kettle. I mean, you're already at Christmas Eve right now down there. I mean, you're already there.
I've been at Christmas Eve for weeks, baby. Let's go.
The line is kind of weird, but we'll get to that in locks of the week. It's a little strange in my opinion for
Jacksonville, Dallas?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Okay.
When you talk about the skill levels of both and how ESPN wants to say, "Oh, Dallas has the best chance of winning the Super Bowl," all right, if you believe that, then you would think this line is weird, or even being close to believing that you would.
Is it less than -6?
Yes, it is.
I would say in 2 years, maybe even next year, that Jacksonville might arguably have more talent than the Dallas Cowboys.
Could be. Good.
Coming soon to a Jaguar near you.
I say this being on the side going into Sunday where I hope we blow out the Bears and Justin Fields by 40 points. But as somebody because Greg, I feel like you're on my side with this, like on draft night, where I actually thought that Fields was going to be end up being the best quarterback of that draft class, which right now doesn't look great. Like it's Lawrence by far, but I'm glad, at least for his sake, it took him 6 weeks, but they're actually using him the way they should be, because they didn't even let him run for the first half of his.
You talking Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's a guy, in my opinion, right? This is an argument which we'll never know, so you can take it or leave it with it. But I think if you talk about situations to succeed, what everybody wants to talk about with Jalen Hurts, if you put Justin Fields and what he's able to do on a Niners, right, or a Dallas, or even on a Jacksonville, if you just talk about, hey, put him in a better situation with a head coaching staff, not with freaking, Nagy, a couple of years ago, and then obviously with Eberflus before they learn how to use them, I feel like he's talked about completely different than he already is. And he's already talked about hey, over the last 6 weeks, he's been kind of special, even though him, or at least the Bears as a team, they haven't won a game since October 24th.
There might be truth to that. And then on the other side, there's the devil's advocate to that is sometimes say he's on the Niners team, right? Hypothetically, okay, what you say, wow. Right? We would all be like, hey. But then there's the other side of it, because he's so young, can he live up to that expectation too? There's also the side, when you're in a rebuild place and you're young, there's a side of freedom, looseness, right? And a weird looseness. You're always, game ready. I think Justin Fields is a really good kid. I do. I thought he was a really good kid on draft night. The stigma of Ohio State quarterbacks, I'm not going to say didn't play a part, because it does. It seems like that system.
I still factor that in.
Yeah, and Lawrence was pro ready, essentially pro ready, pocket guy that's got mobility too. I mean, he was a generational guy. So anything that was getting picked over Lawrence, I don't want to say it's hot take, but it's a little bit people are say there's a lot of projections going that. But if you look at that quarterback class, it's not really that good, huh?
No.
What it was supposed to be.
The biggest indictment
to be second in there, you don't have to live up to much.
No, you kind of just have to be alive. You just got to kind of be there and actually be not Zach Wilson. You know what I'm saying?
Wilson. Who else? Wilson,
Trey Lance, and Mac
Jones.
Well, I think Trey Lance stinks. I think Mac Jones is obviously I think sadly Mac Jones is almost in the worst position to be in. Not a lot of skill position guys. They really haven't going out. Everything's a bubble goddamn screen. You got Matt Patricia calling plays. I think Mac Jones is actually in the worst spot, even though he's got the best head coach, right? He's got the go-to head coach, but an offense that's a train wreck. I think Brady wanted out. There was nothing there, and they had not replenished that. I think if Mac Jones had guys like Devontae or any of these borderline one guys, that was a really good route runner, Mac Jones lights it up. Because
I think if you swap Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, I think the Jets are tenfold better than what they are right now.
Dude, Mac Jones might be going to a Pro Bowl if he played with those skill position guys.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of skill position guys in New York.
There absolutely is.
I think he went to a Pro Bowl last year too, which talks about obviously. And I think, me, I don't think Mac Jones is any good, but even I am willing to admit he's in no position to succeed where he's at right now. No,
and I don't think he's great, right? I'm in the middle of him, but he's a guy that needs those things because he's not going to run around, and he wants to do what Brady does. He wants it's quick. And
He's that game manager without a game right now. Right?
Yeah,
he's that game manager without an offense.
And Greg, the fight with the way the NFL is going in terms of quarterback position, if you're a pocket guy, you got to be so cerebral. Like,
yeah.
So I think he'll get there because I already see it when you watch him. He's quick decisions. He's a winner, but he doesn't have the tools the other guys have, right?
No, there's no doubt.
Well, that's like
even Wilson's got better tools than him, and he stinks.
Yeah, he's a friggin' listen. He's worse.
At least he's going to dress this week. That's the big news.
Yeah,
right?
He beat out Joe Flacco. He beat out Joe
Flacco.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment.
Well, Joe probably said, "You take the dude."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to play.
I'll wear the jacket and the hoodie on the side. You're good. You could be in uniform. Go ahead.
36 years old or 37 years old. You know what I mean?
Zach Wilson has the accomplishment of somehow being worse than Trey Lance, and Trey Lance played for 15 seconds and his knee blew up. And somehow Zach Wilson is worse than him. Somebody that doesn't have a knee.
Well, you know why he's worse than him?
Figure that one out.
Stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't take ownership when he only puts up 3 points, and I think his total offense in the second half was like 2 inches per touch or something.
I don't think we would all be as sour on him if he didn't say something stupid like that.
No, like if he was just like a good,
because he'd still be playing.
Yes.
There'd be no news.
There was a mutiny in the locker room. There was a mutiny in the locker room.
Well, the sad thing is the kid's got talent.
Yeah, he can sling a little bit.
Like that's the thing. Like I mean, I'm like, how can he not throw it? Because he can throw it. He's just little. And I think that's the big thing for him is just the size. But I mean, listen, Jacksonville, that's a no-brainer pick. It's an easy pick. The rest of them are all hard. Trey Lance is I mean, that's arguably the worst pick in Niners history, in my opinion. That might go down as the worst pick in Niners history. I just traded
all those picks for Lance, and the best quarterback in the draft was Brady at whatever 899, right? Whatever Mr. Irrelevant is. That was the best pick they had, the quarterback-wise.
Well, it's hysterical too because they've got like 19 quarterbacks over there. By the way, and I think I don't even know if Brock Purdy's playing tomorrow night because I think I saw like he's hurt or he's questionable or something. Yeah. So I mean, they might go to Josh Johnson or John Johnson, whatever his name is.
Josh Johnson, yeah.
Justin Johnson, who knows? Like you have a situation where
didn't we have a Josh Johnson for a moment? Is that the same guy from like San Diego State?
Yeah.
Or San Diego was bounced around
he played on like 15 teams.
Yeah. Nice. Good.
And then with some stints in the AAF and the UFL. Remember the UFL?
Greg, I'm just going to tell Cass, all you have to do when you get older is go play and this is easier said than done. Is just go be a Division I quarterback. So you got to be good enough to get there, get yourself in the league. And the best job in the country is being a backup quarterback.
Chase Daniel it.
You can play for 18 years and your body still feels like you're 25.
Yeah. Matt Flynn just get one contract that you just don't live up to, but then continue to be the backup every year.
Bro, you just get $1.5 million to be the backup. I mean, think about it. Like,
look at Matt Bradley's still kicking around somewhere.
What's Flacco getting? What's Joe getting at 37 years old?
I mean, Chase Daniel might have the greatest career of all time.
Yeah.
So does Joe in a way too.
Well, I mean, he had his run.
He's got a Super Bowl MVP and a ring.
He got Super Bowl MVP, and after he left Baltimore, it's sort of been like you're a semi-starter, but you're a backup. Yeah. And now he's got the greatest job in the world. Like he's an emergency spot guy and could probably come out and win you a football game because at 37 he's still got a hose. Yeah. So
sadly that's probably why New York went to Mike White because they're like, we know we have in Joe. We know we can win football games. We got to see what we have in Mike White or Zach. You know what I mean? Like, sadly, that's the position he's in as well.
Well, I think they went to him because last season or 2 seasons ago, they went to him and he caught lightning in a bottle for like 3 weeks. So they're probably like, let's see if we can get 3 weeks out of this guy, and then we'll eventually go back to Flacco. We'll go back.
I like Mike White a lot. I just don't. I don't know if he's good enough for like a long time.
No, he's like a Minshew. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just hey, come in and you can win some games. You'll have a cute hashtag. Mike White mania, whatever it is, Minshew mania. And then after about 4 weeks, we realize, oh wait, you're not that good. You're just you're on the bench.
To me, that's a dig at Minshew. I think Minshew could start for a few teams.
I do too.
Like I think
that's fine. He's
like,
not starting for us.
I wouldn't say that about Mike White, right? Like to your point, Like I wouldn't say that about Mike White, but like you put Minshew out there on the open market, I think he wins a job somewhere.
Oh, if Minshew was a starter in New York, like
they'd be a playoff team.
Oh yeah, they might at this point be leading that division.
Very well possible.
That's how good their defense is. Yeah. I mean, nobody talks about it.
And you just need someone not to screw it up.
Well, think about that. Zach Wilson, you talk about talent around people. Got a lot of it.
I feel like Minshew, and this is not necessarily like a credit to Minshew. It is, I guess, but it's more so how many horrible quarterbacks there are in the league right now. I feel like you can, just off the top of my head, you can go to like 11 to 15 NFL teams and say Minshew or whatever guy they have, and you'd probably go Minshew right now.
Yeah, and plus because we haven't seen him a lot.
You don't know if he truly sucks.
He's still got that allure. He's still got that. What was that game? Was it Green Bay last year?
Jets.
The Jets. Yeah.
He was spinning it though.
He
was spinning it. I mean, he's a guy who can catch lightning in a bottle for 3 weeks type of guy, Cat too. But I do believe if he was in New York and they could get him to not turn the football over, the Jets probably have 10 wins by now, 11 wins.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's nothing like that. He's awesome.
Well, right. To your point, you can go to the entire AFC and NFC South and insert Minshew into every one of those teams except for Tampa Bay, and I guarantee you, every one of them they're better. Maybe not Tennessee. Maybe not Tennessee.
Well, Jaguars too. Trevor Lawrence
and Trevor. Yeah. So there's three teams out of the 8.
Colts, yes. Texans, yes. Tennessee, who the hell knows?
Maybe.
Probably, it doesn't matter because it's Derrick Henry's the quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. NFC, whatever the Saints situation is, yes.
Saints, yes.
The Falcons, we don't know if Ritter's anything, but probably yes. The Panthers, they've been a disaster since Cam Newton's MVP season, so yes. Listen, some would argue Tampa Bay, yes, because Tom Brady's not awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Tom scares me in the playoffs, though. I don't want them to win the division.
Well, they're going to.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's happening, unfortunately.
There's another one, Kayvon says. I mean, you put Minshew on the Broncos. I mean, how good of a year's he having with Judy, Cortland Sutton?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they had weapons too. I mean, like, so I'll say it a million times. You can, on paper, you write it all down before the year, and you can be the best team on paper coming into the year. That doesn't mean you're going to. So to put together a great offseason, to do the things you've done, to be, I think, the second youngest. What up, Renee? I think the second youngest team in the National Football League. So you factor that in, and you're 12-1, and you don't sit back and tell yourself, man, a quarterback deserves a lot of credit for that. Yeah. I think you're crazy. Like, we give quarterbacks all this credit all the time, and then when it's like convenient for people, then when they don't want to give the quarterback credit, they talk about all the things around them. But hold on, quarterbacks get crushed. If we were losing football games, Jalen would be getting ran out of town. And so you can't have it both ways. If we're going to put quarterbacks on a pedestal and pay them $50 million a goddamn year, then we should keep it 100 all the time. So I don't care about the talent around them. I care about is he going to continue to get better? Because real quick, right? You come to a point in your career where you'll rise people up if you're the leader we think you are.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a credit to Jalen Hurts, it's a credit to this organization because before the year, because again, we had 2 avenues on which we were going to go with this. Jalen Hurts ends up being what he is now or something close to it, which is awesome, right? Like absolutely franchise quarterback. This is our guy. Or he's not good enough. And then you pivot to, hey, we have that top 5 pick or top 10 pick. And you can go out and you can get a quarterback, whether it's trading that pick for a veteran or whether it's just taking somebody out of the draft. And it's when you talk about the situation that the Eagles are in and you compare it to teams around the league, because it's amazing how you have a situation with Jalen Hurts where MVP candidate, whether he wins it or not, he's absolutely in that conversation. And he is due to be paid. He was due to be like, hey, we need you to act like you're the guy or we need to move on because we needed to make some decisions as an organization. Well, I can look around the league right now and look at the Jets, right? I can look at the Raiders. I can look at the Steelers, the Titans, the Texans, the Colts. That's just in the AFC. The NFC, the Giants, the Commanders, the Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals, Rams, Lions, even though I think the Lions are going to stick with Jared Goff. The Packers. And then pretty much the entire NFC South. You know what all of those teams have in common? They have to make a huge decision at quarterback. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, they're stuck. Like the Cardinals right now, they're stuck because Kyler Murray, they just paid. Now he's going to miss a big chunk of the season, and they're going to have like a top 7 pick. So they can't draft a kid because they're paying somebody something. You can't trade them. You know what I'm saying? And then the 49ers, you can. I don't know who would take them. You have to find a really desperate team to take.
I don't necessarily.
I don't think you'll have to find someone. You'll be able to trade. You'll be able to trade real quick.
If you're able to trade Carson Wentz, you're able to trade Kyler Murray.
Twice,
the only reason why I separate the two is because Murray's like actively hurt right now.
Right, but look at all the quarterbacks that we just talked about. How bad the league is at the quarterback position. Yeah. Somebody will be thirsty for that. I don't know who. I wouldn't be if I'm a general manager, but somebody who loves a little Call of Duty would be, or Warzone would be thirsty as fuck for some Kyler Murray because they feel like that changes their franchise and they have one of the franchise quarterbacks around the league. But to your point, there's a lot of big decisions, and Jalen's one of those decisions too.
But and to that too, Ryan, look what Denver gave up for what a really old Russell Wilson too, right?
Too much.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like not only did they sign him, but they gave up a whole lot too. So you got teams out there that if a Kyler Murray type of player is available, or he's gonna get to his destination.
Would the Broncos and Cardinals, if they called each other and said, okay, we'll give you Murray, you give us Wilson, for problem, would they both sign off on that?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, maybe not Cliff. Maybe not down there because he might not even be there. But with Denver, I think Denver would be an idiot not to do that. Would Arizona? I think Arizona would be a moron to do it. And I'm not big on Kyler. It's just he's younger, and at this point, he probably has more upside than Russell Wilson.
You could argue
Carson Palmer lasted a couple of years in Arizona. I mean, that is where old players go to die. So maybe you get a little rejuvenation there.
Well, Kurt Warner as well, Greg. Kurt Warner is another name that lingered. He lingered. He went to a bowl.
You could argue the team with the biggest mess on their hands, I guess 49ers fans would say it's maybe an embarrassment of riches. But they're probably the best team of this discussion. That like they've got a quarterback situation. But it's a mess when you think about it long term because you had Jimmy G and there was talks. I remember we were talking about it at the tailgate, Tom. That morning before he got hurt, there was active talks about bringing him back and extending him, bringing him back to San Francisco. So, okay, he's out of the picture now. Now you have a situation where Trey Lance, you're going to go into year 3, a mobile quarterback that needed polishing, and now he's coming off a major injury. You traded like 7 picks to go out and get him. Now you've got this Brock Purdy guy, and meanwhile, they're at the top page as far as rumored to get Tom Brady in the offseason. So it's like all those guys, and by the way, Tom Brady might go there.
I've never wanted to see a team fail more. Yeah, so I hope it continues. I hope they continue to come up short, which is Kyle Shanahan's MO. So get close, no cigar, Kyle. Because he's a very good coach. I just, and they got a really good defense. I'll never take it away from them. But they don't scare me in the least as a football team. Like they just don't. Matched up right now with Brock Purdy as their quarterback, there ain't no way they're beating us. I just keep it 100 with you. Not a shot. Now we played them 10 times. Could they beat us once or twice? Sure. So semi-shot. But in reality, if you look at rosters, if you look at talent, if you look at matchups, come see us. I'm more scared of Dallas than I am San Fran.
Oh my! And
playoff wise, not Christmas Eve.
Where are you hiding? Yeah, I mean the Rams are in a tough spot. The only reason why I didn't put them up there, listen, I'm not going to say one game of Baker Mayfield against a horrible Raiders team is like, oh my God, he's the number 1 pick. I'm not going to say that, even though it was awesome watching that, and it helped the Eagles pick. Thank you, Rams and Baker.
Yeah,
but that might end up being like beneficial to them because one, I don't know if Matt Stafford's ever playing again. If you read some of the things that are on his health list.
If you listen to Kelly, if you listen to Kelly, I mean, his wife, I mean, she's not a fan of this one bit. And, I'm not going to say the guy, she's going to make this – we're doing Tom Brady here. But, I mean, they have a real relationship. I don't know what Giselle and Tom's were, but this is a little deeper, in my opinion, relationship. And she wasn't happy after the first one. So now we're talking about another one. Yeah. They got kids and stuff. It's different. Brady never gets concussed. It's just different. Some guys just don't get concussions. Tom Brady just feel like he's concussionless almost. Not saying he's never had one, but when they start happening quickly or back to back at that age, man, and what we know down the road, I completely agree with that statement. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take another snap there again, and I wouldn't be surprised that they go and get a guy like Baker and with Sean McVay. If there's a guy who can pull it out of Baker Mayfield, it would be Sean McVay. At this point, offensively, if you talk about Shanahan, I even think Nick's smart. But you look around the league of some guys that are offensive gurus per se. Yep. I mean, McVay is. And you see, I mean, he went. Jared Goff, we know, is a better quarterback to give him credit for. Just not a number one overall pick, right? Sure. Just never live up to that, but a very good one. McVay went to a Super Bowl with him. Dan Campbell's doing some things with him now in Detroit, but he seems to raise levels of plays for Guy McVay, right? Yeah. Even Matty went there, and Matty found the fountain of youth instantly. This year I just don't count it for them. There's just too much going on, but they have no picks. So I don't know if that's a good spot for Baker, but if he was their starter next year, it's nice to have a guy like Cooper Kupp. It's nice to have a guy like Allen Robinson. And the bigger side of it, boys, is
that defense is going to be there
when you play. But when you get a chance to play in a dome environment over a place like Cleveland, it's a little bit easier on the body and a little bit easier on the zip, right? That's just facts, right? So, I don't think that situation. I feel like Baker's a little small. I don't feel like he needs to be in a dome environment, right, to help him out a little bit. But credit to him, man. I mean, I thought he was going to be better than he was. But credit to him. But that's a guy, again, we talk about Cleveland surrounded him offensively with talent, and they didn't get it done. Now, they did go to the playoffs.
But they did go to the playoffs, which for Cleveland's like a winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But that next year, right, per se, they didn't get it done. So it doesn't always work out. But, man, it'd be cool for Baker to, figure it out and, be better than Deshaun Watson. How funny would that be? That's actually what I want to happen. I almost want Baker to be better than Deshaun. And then people in Cleveland be like, we gave this guy guaranteed money too. We can't even move him. We can't even move him for a masseuse. If the NFL lets him play, I can say whatever I want. That's how I look at that.
Yeah, it's
he's free game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no moral compass with him. Absolutely not.
Real quick, yes or no? I don't want to go too deep in this because I want to get the Eagles' predictions. Mm-hmm. But do you guys have a little bit of a problem with all this? I think the guy did something, right? He did something. I don't know what he did. I wasn't in the rooms. But you go watch him play? I don't know. I don't know. I would assume you don't want to ever see that guy again if he's that much of a creep. I can watch him on TV. I can watch him on TV. I can watch him on TV. I don't want to go too deep, right? I don't go too deep.
I didn't know what you're saying. I know what you're saying now. Okay.
It's weird. It's weird antics to me. The whole situation's weird. So it just gets weirder.
No, I agree. And the thing I really don't like about it is all this ongoing, and he's rewarded with a guaranteed contract on top of it. That's what really left a bad taste in my mouth. Listen, I believe in retribution. Long before Mike Vick signed with the Eagles, I said, dude did his time. Whatever the judicial system decided was his punishment was it. And then he deserves a chance to come back and, prove that he's a changed person. That's the whole purpose of the prison system, right? In terms of this, it wasn't necessarily a criminal case, but where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't like the way he handled it coming back.
Sure.
And I don't like that while this was outstanding, the league is allowing them to reward him by giving him an insane, unbelievable amount of guaranteed money.
Chrome, not just that, Chrome.
We rewrote the
game-changing NFL money where nobody gets all of their money guaranteed. Nobody in the history of football before Deshaun Watson has been fully guaranteed? And if there is, I just missed it.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk's fully guaranteed?
Yeah.
For how many years, though?
But
how many years?
That was like a
88 over 3 or 4 years. His first contract he signed with Minnesota was fully guaranteed.
It was like $93 million.
Yeah, but it was only 3 or 4 years.
Okay, but nobody did this.
Deal. But no, this is $250 million. Hell no, no one went this far.
This is next level. This is definitely next level.
Yeah,
it's beyond just the guaranteed money. When I say rewrote the system, they pulled off the ultimate gray area move where the first year he's only getting paid $1 million.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's really like, okay, we're going to completely change how we do quarterback contracts.
Was that because of knowing he was going to get suspended, you think, too, Rod?
Yes. It was the uncertainty with how long or how much time he was going to miss. Yes.
And then how do you get that off your books? You can't, right? So
it's all backlogged. It's backlogged.
So, no, like as I'm saying, as an organization, once you pay a quarterback or any player fully guaranteed money for a long period of time, like you give guys 7-8 year deal of fully guaranteed money, and God forbid that guy falls apart, you're screwed. Like, I've always said this, I don't think NFL should ever be fully guaranteed. I think incentives are important. I think those things are important. I think it's what waters down the NBA is that you give everybody fully guaranteed money so nobody's got to work. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I like the NFL product. I think it's built for guys to be hungry, right? And you're still getting guaranteed money, right? It's not like you're not getting guaranteed money. And every time you're in shape and you're on a roster, right, you're going to get paid. So that's where, like, I don't understand why you have to write in a different way, right? Rewrite how it's all done by a fully guaranteed $200+ million. So now that if I want to sign my quarterback, I have to go look at his deal. Not even Kyler Murray's deal. I got to look at Deshaun Watson's deal. And Kyler Murray got $180 million fully guaranteed in his deal. So now it's rewriting everything. So you're talking about these two guys. Now factor Jalen Hurts in this. If I'm his agent, if I'm his agent, I'm making for $350. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Fully guaranteed too. You don't even miss me with like 180. Now, 350, you can't say 250 guaranteed. It's got to be over 250 because the one guy is out there with his tail down all the time, not even play this year, and he's getting $250 million. So, and to be honest with you, this season out of Jalen Hurts is better than any season Deshaun Watson's had. So, are you kidding me?
In a football sense, like, forget about all the extra. Like, I hate saying that. Like, forget about all the extra stuff because the extra stuff means more than football, obviously. But say, for example,
well, it doesn't, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, to some people it doesn't. Yep. To some people with checkbooks, it really doesn't. It's the exact opposite of mattering, actually.
Listen, it's the same league that turned their eyes to everything going on in Washington too. So.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Well, another player there, and another player there just came back and played. So I mean. Mm-hmm. You know, 4 games. You know what I mean? Kareem Hunt, who kick somebody right in the fucking head. I mean,
but we're gonna suspend Calvin Ridley for a year because he used a betting app. Just please.
Because everybody, because you don't have that plastered everywhere you lose.
Yeah, because you're not sponsored by DraftKings.
Well, you're allowed to make money. You're allowed to make money as a league, but your players aren't allowed to dabble. Okay, which I get. Like, I don't want my player. There always should be one stipulation: you can't gamble on your team.
Yes, and he did it, I believe, when he was hurt, and he did it
playing. Yeah.
Like, listen, am I saying that?
It's like $25.
It was like I feel it was like a free bet or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the specials. Yeah, like, I gotta do it.
11 or 12 like parlay too. Like, it wasn't even gonna hit.
No,
could you imagine if DraftKings sent him the alert like, "Hey, we got a free bet on Atlanta today." Like, on Atlanta, like no other free bet.
Special. Calvin Ridley special.
And listen, $25 of free money that you got to bet on Atlanta.
Am I saying that he's the smartest person ever? The fact that he did it on his phone instead of texting his best friend, "Hey, could you put in a bet for me?" Like, no, listen. You didn't think things out, Calvin. That's fine.
Yeah, when you're a first round pick, you got guys. You got a circle of guys that help you navigate.
Yeah, like you couldn't have texted your agent. You know what I'm saying? At 1:00 in the afternoon, "Hey, can you put in a bet for me?" Like, stop. But beside that, when you look at the situation with Watson, say for example, like, oh, he was out for 2 years because I don't know, he retired. He took a break, right? Like, and it wasn't any of the other stuff. I still don't know if I would pay him that contract because it's a guy with extensive knee issues who needs to be mobile that hadn't played in 2 years. And look what he's looking like. A guy who was rusty because he hasn't played in 2 years. So forget about all like, oh, he might not be the greatest guy. Oh, no, I don't know if I want to give it to him because when he was in Houston, yeah, he had the really good season. But it's not like he's like the best quarterback of all time over there.
No, but they're desperate, right? That's what desperate organizations
That's what bad organizations do.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then they don't think about the rest. You know what? Where are you all hiding? I totally forgot about this. I totally forgot that Calvin Ridley is with Jackson.
He got traded, yeah.
My God, I forgot. I forgot. You just reminded me. I mean, oh my God. So,
I forgot who it was. I knew he got traded, but I'm like, I forgot where he went.
And we all good with Jacksonville next year is absolutely winning that division.
Yeah,
and they still might win it this year. I mean,
he's Jacksonville
Ridley with Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and.
Is he out all year too, guys? Like he's suspended all year, right?
He's suspended for the year, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you can kick, you can punch your girl in the face, right? And it give you 8 games, maybe if it's like a semi-egregious, which is all egregious, but you know what I mean? To the league standard, semi-egregious, okay? And you can gamble, which I get.
You make three bets. I think he made,
and you get suspended for a whole season. I mean,
plus last year.
I mean, these leagues.
They didn't even allow the time last year to be counted as time spent.
Well, oh my God, is this going on right now at 12 o'clock at night? Look at this guy. I mean, out of the freaking woods he comes.
Oh my God.
And I gotta go piss before we give our predictions, or you guys can start with predictions, and I can just give them.
Could we start them out? Because I got to hop off, so we'll probably do a trade out.
Go ahead,
Frank. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna go unleash. Hi, Noah.
Good evening, fellas.
Good morning. In 2 minutes. Good morning.
Good evening. Good
guys just getting up for work. Look at him. He's just getting up for work. All right, yeah. So give your score predictions. Everybody out there, we want your offensive and defensive players of the game. Your chance to win $200, Venmo, Cash App, whatever you work with, right into your account. But you got to send us your score prediction. If you hit, screenshot it, send it right over to any of the ATD accounts, and we'll get you the money over. And this segment is brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. But it's got to be online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. So go try to Trenton. I had a cold too. It drove all the way in the Uber car. Drove all the way home, and it was chilly. I didn't even heat it up because that's what I like to really.
Just went all in. Went all in.
I'm gonna test you out cold because if I give you a huge review cold, I know when it's hot right off the grill, skillet. It's delicious.
So the chicken parm sandwich was money.
I'm sure it was. I wanted no part of the chicken parm. My first rodeo is Trenton or bust. You know what I mean? Your first rodeo has got to be Trenton or bust. So everybody give their score predictions out. Everybody out there, make sure you screenshot it. And the tiebreaker, offense, defensive player of the game. Nobody's got it right once, so only the tiebreaker is going to matter.
Frank.
All right. I might as well go, and I guess I'll give out my offensive players and defensive players while we're at it. So
go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to go. I'm going to follow up on this. Eagles win 36-13. You know what? I'm going to go back to back on the number chart for my offensive players and defensive player of the games. Give me Devontae Smith, number 6 for offensive player of the game. Defensive player, give me number 7, Hassan Reddick. So I bid you all good night, and I'll probably see you all next week.
Adios, Frankie.
Oh no, he's frozen, or is he? The world may never know. Well, go ahead, Chrome.
Okay, I got the Birds 33-17. Offensive player of the game.
We'll save that. Frank had to go rapid fire because
that's fine. 33-17 Birds.
Greg. See, Greg, you don't have to go last this time.
Yeah, right. 33-17.
It's very close to mine.
38. Yeah. 38-16.
Jesus. Noah?
Well, fellas, believe it or not, I think it might be a little closer. than we might think. I don't know. It is a road game, and we know who we're playing the week after. So let me say let me lead off with this. Maybe in the first half, just maybe we're looking ahead just a little bit. But I think a little bit of a trap.
There we go.
Little bit, but I think in the fourth quarter we pull away, and I have us winning this game 24-13.
Okay.
Still a 10-point win or 11-point win.
I
can see it.
Yeah. So he agrees to the poll question from earlier, Greg.
He also agrees without knowing what the poll question was.
Yes, clean swipe. Yeah, for me, I'll go. It's similar to Chrome's, a couple points less. I'll go 30-17. Birds, obviously. Chrome, you want to do offensive player of the game?
Yeah, I think offensive player of the game is Goddard back this week?
Supposed to be, yes. Yeah, he was activated.
He was activated today, but
he's trending towards yes. But
I'm going to go Jalen, and the only reason I'm going to go Jalen is not that I think that he's coming out to prove anything to Micah Parsons or anybody, but I feel like it's just his MO.
But he's coming out to prove something to Micah Parsons.
He's going to come out. He's going to play his game. They're going to. I mean, I'm even thinking about changing my score and racking it up even more. But I have a feeling Jalen's going to come out with yet another statement game. Unintended, Greg. I just think it's how he's been rolling, man.
No, I don't disagree with you.
I don't think it's anything particular, Micah Parsons, but the message should be received. So I'm going Jalen on this one. I think he's going to rush for a tutty and throw for 3.
Only full transparency. The only reason why I don't have it being higher, like a greater margin of victory for the Eagles, I could see it end up being like, entering the fourth quarter, 30, what did I say? 30, 31 to like 10.
Trash,
and it's a Minshew game again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where it's like, okay, we could just waste time here.
Right.
Somebody also said that it's supposed to snow. Ted said there's a 30% chance it's going to be a snowball.
Oh, sweet.
Well, Chicago.
It is Chicago in December. I mean,
yeah, that's fun. Greg?
Yeah, before I go, I did want to
pick up leave the fog out of it. I think we'll be
picked
fine.
Up some Haribo gold, some gummy bears in honor of Mike Leach. Mike Leach is a big fan of Haribo gummy bears. They are delicious.
I had the Star Mix yesterday.
What's that?
I had the Star Mix yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
with all of them combined,
they're delicious. He was an offensive mind, so
R.I.P. to Big Mike.
Yeah, R.I.P. Miss Coach Leach. We go Miles Sanders. I think I've gone him, pretty regularly. But it's a pretty safe pick. Especially if they are calling for snow, right? It means you're going to probably run the rock a little bit. Let's go, Miles. Continue a good year.
DJ's world. We'll get to that as soon as that's a great question. We'll get to that as soon as we're done with our offensive and defensive players, because that is a great question. Noah, yours?
For offensive player of the game, you know what? Give me AJ Brown.
Yeah, I mean, it's sitting right there on the tee for you, buddy.
Yeah, why not?
I don't have to change my pick or anything. It's fine. Nobody went Dallas, right? You didn't go Dallas Goedert, right, Chrome?
No, he didn't.
I went with Jalen.
All right, I'll go with Goddard. I so badly want to go like Alcantara, but I'm.
Yo, he had two catches last week.
It was not bad, and a really good block. I believe he was the lead blocker. I don't think it was Stahl on the Miles Sanders home run, like 40-yard. Run. I think it was Alcantara. Which, if so, good on you. Now go back to the bench because Dallas is back, or I should say, go to special teams. Yeah, I'll go Dallas Goedert because there's really no one else. And I went with freaking Kenny Gainwell last week, and I don't think Kenny Gainwell got a touch.
He did not.
No. So
as he should. He should not get touches.
No. Defense, Chrome? Don, go to hell. Don. He's still on the practice squad. He's waiting for his opportunity, Don.
Yeah. Defensively, it's hard for me not to pick anybody off of this line. I mean, this line is just getting pressure left and right, and I'm gonna keep rolling with the defensive line here, and I'm gonna go Josh Sweat, who I think has really had a really strong season.
Yep.
It just seems like every time you turn around, he's getting after the quarterback. So I'm gonna go Josh Sweat with a sack and a half this week.
I like it. I don't know if he's going to be necessarily the guy that's going to quote unquote spy Justin Fields, but I'm going to go with TJ Edwards because if he's not, he's going to still be there in the middle of the field to clean up whatever's left after Justin does whatever he does. So let's go with my son TJ.
I'm guessing it would either be TJ or Kaiser, correct?
Yeah, and I actually think Kaiser probably fits better as the spy, but that leaves TJ then to cover the middle of the field, right?
Noah?
Me,
He goes with the
give me big play, Slay.
Bang,
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit.
Seven picks?
No, but give me a pick six.
I like it.
All right, we'll take that.
I like it.
We'll take that. That'll up a score. Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to go with Jordan Davis here. I really got to – I'm not 100% sure what his snap counts have been, and I know he's got a lot of competition there. Obviously, Fletcher, Javon, and then obviously the two guys they picked up in the middle of the season. But listen, when you talk about stopping the run, and I know it's the quarterback, not necessarily the running back, but the first guy I think of is Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
And also because TJ Edwards / Kaiser Wait was going to be my pick, but I don't want to double up on linebackers because that feels weird as a Eagles fan. So I don't want to.
It's okay. We can have a richest of linebackers for once.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know. That's like the first time ever. I don't want to attempt anything. Joseph, I don't know. I would assume he's playing, especially because Kayvon Wallace is literally the worst player on the team, and I don't want him.
He knows the defense. I mean, he played for us. He was just cut in preseason, so I would be shocked if Anthony Harris doesn't play. And also, I like that they brought him back at this point.
Loved it.
He makes sense. I liked him to start. I didn't like that they cut him to begin with. So happy to see him back.
Yeah, I remember like it was one of our rare criticisms from like the preseason / off season because I believe Anthony Harris was like one of the first guys they cut.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
No, I was gonna say I think they do that for some of these fringe guys early so that they can try and catch on with another team.
Exactly, and that's why like I kind of cooled off, and I think a lot of people cooled off from it. It's like, oh, they're probably trying to see what Epps is going to be, and also we knew that they were going to. I don't think they had signed Gardner Johnson yet because I remember there were memes like, "Oh, Howie Roseman hates safeties," because I think the only two guys on the roster that played safety was Kayvon and it was Epps.
But I think they were intrigued early on about Blankenship because everything I was I remember reading through preseason is they liked this kid and they were trying to in for all intents and purposes try and find a roster spot for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think that's where you let a veteran like Harris go. See if he's able to catch on somewhere else while you figure out what truly is or isn't Reed Blankenship, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like to me, he doesn't even need to be great. He just needs to be better than Kayvon Wallace, and it's a great signing.
I think all five of us or four of us are all better than Kayvon Wallace.
I would hope so. I really would. I want to get to that question from, I believe it was DJ's World. He said,
basically asking what if we lose the game, what's going to be the reason for it?
Yeah, so he says there's nothing to support this, but if we drop this game for some reason, what would be the most likely reason?
Turnovers. Yeah, we would beat ourselves. I mean, to me, that's the only way you lose this game.
I mean, I'll go even simpler than that. It's just the NFL, right? Just the ebbs and flows of the NFL. Right, you know what I mean? Call it trap game, call it whatever you want to call it. I just think, because I think he's got some, there is some little bit of a point to that, right? You know what I mean?
That's
but
where I was going to go.
It's just kind of like the NFL, right? We could probably not turn the football over and still somehow lose the game. I don't know how we would do that, but that's just it's
Turnovers,
the NFL being the
penalties,
NFL.
and we're on the road.
Yeah.
I was actually going to go. I mean, you guys all hit the nail on the head. That's number one. But I was just going to be different and say where you're hiding saying, and that's time of possession. And I was going to add like horrible third down defense, which it's like, okay, you're not just converting first down. No, you're getting, okay, first down, second down, third down in 3, and then you're converting. And then you just start the process over, which would really hurt the time of possession for the Eagles, which is, I believe, I don't like thinking about this game too much, but I believe that's what happened against the Commanders. Like, yeah, there were the turnovers. And yes, obviously we were barely on the field in the first half, but it was mainly like, hey, first down, okay, second down and 7, third down and 3, and then they convert. It wasn't like quick. It wasn't quick at all. It was just like, it was death via a million paper cuts. And again, like, it's not, I don't think this comes from like a place for us where we're like overly confident. I don't think it's even necessarily as meant, at least in my opinion, and I think you guys would all agree, as meant as like disrespect for the Bears, but it's literally just calling a spade a spade. I mean, the Bears, like we said earlier, they have not won a game since Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. I believe that was Thursday night.
Yeah.
If not, like,
it was either a Thursday or a Sunday night. It was definitely some primetime night game.
Yeah, because it was like the coming out party for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Then they put up 49, or they lost 49 to 29, 35-32, and they haven't won since. Like, they lost 4 games after that.
35-32. Is that the Bears? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that the Lions?
No. 35-32 was the Dolphins. 31-30 was the Bears.
Who's that guy?
Oh yeah, he put on real close.
But I assume everybody did their predictions too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
You just run yours through there, Big Dad.
No players are left.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I'll double dip. That's not a problem.
But there are some that are left.
Yeah, I don't even care. I'll pick the same guys. It doesn't.
Grant Calcaterra's left on the offense.
Yeah, big week, Tom. Big week, leading blocker.
And 2 catches.
Woo!
Well, listen, I mean, they lead the league in offense, so you expect that not to change. So I'm gonna go 34. I won't go crazy. You know, I think they'll score a little bit. You know, not a lot, but it's the NFL. I'll give them 17. You know, I'll give them 17 somehow. So I'll go 34-17. And it's still a butt whooping. Maybe not like the perfect week, but then again, we're gonna be talking about it on Sunday night, Greg, on how like, well, you know, it wasn't the cleanest game, but we just won 34-17. You know, I smell that coming too. And then people are nervous about Dallas, right? And they'll probably lose, and then we'll still be nervous. Offensively, I don't pick the quarterback. I just don't. So I steer clear. It's just my style. Like if I steer clear from it, and it's going well, I'm going to stay there.
John Hightower's available.
I'm gonna go with my son again. I'll just keep going with him. I'll go. You know, I take him almost every week. I'll go with Devontae again. You know, I think he's just being really consistent, and I'm almost waiting for that like 8-catch game. So I don't know what the weather's like in Chicago this weekend, but
30% chance of snow.
Jesus Christ.
Kenny Gainwell's available. Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, we're taking Devontae, and on the defensive side of the football.
No Zach Pascal this week, anybody?
I mean, he's physical. I like what he brings to the table.
Good blocker. Good blocker.
Yeah. Defensively.
Return Anthony Harris.
There's been some guys who've had some really good weeks too. I mean, there's a lot there's a lot to choose from.
Kavon is still out there.
Yeah,
he better not be out there.
I'm taking Kavon. Give me BG again.
Okay.
Give me BG. Let me get BG another sack. You know? Yeah, I think Brandon Graham's a good one. Let me get Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham 2 sacks. Has 3 last week. He gets 2 this week.
He might get to know his double digits by the end of the year.
Where's he at now?
coming off an
Noah
Achilles.
had the whole defensive line at double digits.
Oh well, yeah, that's given. That was given, Mr. Eaton.
Aren't they close to
Well,
breaking
we're not too far off.
Aren't they close to breaking like the all-time franchise sack record though?
Well, they lead the league in it, so I assume they're close, right? You know, and then if you have the extra game, now it'd be great.
BG's at 8.5.
He's
getting that's a sack off of his career high too. I think his career high is
off an Achilles. Off an Achilles.
And he's what, 34?
Reddick with 10.
His career high is 9.5. He's one sack away.
Reddick with 10, Graham with 8.5, Hargrave with 8, Sweat with 7.5.
Yeah, it's a good year.
Fletcher with 6, and then it drops to 3 from there.
Think about that. Think about that.
Fletchers have come over like the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, it's because
why
he's a part-time player. Part-time player.
Why is that? Yeah, I said that as soon as you sign those two guys, like if you can give an older guy a breather once in a while, and he doesn't have to play 70 snaps like he did against Washington, he's probably going to be more successful. And we've seen a different Fletcher. Right, we've seen explosiveness. We've seen stuff that we haven't seen because he's 33. Right, so and it's just common sense. But now, if a guy plays 35 snaps, he's fresh for those 35. Yep. That's all out. Right, it's not like a young kid. Like a young kid, you could put there, at 24 years old and say, hey, maybe not Jordan Davis, but everybody else, you can put there and say, hey, go eat. Right, go play every down at D tackle. It's different when these guys get older. So it's even more of a credit for a guy like BG who plays a lot of snaps off an Achilles.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different when you're an edge guy to an interior guy, right? When age creeps in, it's just a different aspect, right? At BG can still have a burst off the edge. It's a little bit different. But when you're in the trenches like that, it's a little harder to have your impact. So 6 sacks is a lot. Like that's all my point is. Like that's a lot for a guy who we're considering having a down year. He's really not. And Hargrave having 8's amazing. Like I didn't know. I figured he had like 6. 8's crazy. And Sweat's had a quiet, really good year. He took arguably. I mean, Thomas might be the left tackle for Giants. It's Thomas, right?
Yeah,
Andrew Thomas.
Andrew Thomas.
I mean, he's arguably an all-pro type caliber player at this point.
He's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's really lived up to the billing, and no blitzes, and I felt like he was just going right. We were going right by guys.
Yeah, he used and abused them.
If it wasn't him, it was Evan Neal, who's also a high draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they really ate on Sunday. Like this is impressive. Like I know we talked about it earlier on in the show, but to get this kind of production when you don't blitz, think about that. So you spend all the money up there to not have to blitz, right? And we weren't getting home for a while, right, boys? Like we talked about that on shows.
There was a few games, yeah.
And give them credit. I mean, they lead the league. As much as I hate Jonathan Gannon, this proves to you that talent wins. So if you're talented somewhere, you're going to win. You're going to be good. Now, the lead the league in sacks the way they're doing, I think it's extremely impressive. Extremely impressive. You lost at the end. You signed. You traded for a guy. He really didn't. He was sort of hurt in Robert Quinn when he got here. I feel like.
Yeah, it was end up being a really strange deal then afterwards, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You go sign Sue and Joseph, and that gives Fletch and Hargrave some breathers, and now those guys are even better. Like, I mean, man, it just shows you that if you have a lot of talent, it makes your job easier.
You're doing this from the start of the year. I know, like you said, they added some pieces late. But when you talk about, especially with the sacks, you're doing this in the season. Like, yeah, you added Hassan Reddick. That's obviously gigantic. Josh Sweat's coming into his own, somebody that we hoped him, that he would be, especially after we extended him. Either it was early last year or the year prior. I think it was early last year. Javon Hargrave playing really well, obviously in a contract year, or somebody that's going to be due for an extension. But you're doing that with 3 of your integral pieces of your defensive line. 2 of them, you didn't know if they had anything left. One of them was Brandon Graham, who you knew was coming back, but you didn't know if he was just going to be a shell of himself or he was going to get re-injured. Second guy, you cut for like 2 weeks, and you brought him back, and you were like, he's probably just a depth guy in Fletcher Cox. And the other one, Jordan Davis, he's been hurt, and he's been a rookie. And so it's like, it's not like we had like, we know exactly what we're getting. You could argue, I mean, we talked about this in the summer. Yeah, you had a ton of pieces, and you had potential. But this is coming off the year last year where you had a lot of the same pieces, and you were terrible at getting to the quarterback or pressuring them and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a question mark for the defensive line. And you're in a situation where you're awesome getting to the quarterback.
Well, I mean, think about this too. Everything goes together, right? So when you have two corners who are at the level of Bradbury and Slay, what that extra half a second, that allows guys to get home too. So it takes two to tango here. So when you have that back end, you can bring four. But the biggest difference maker this whole offseason was going and signing Hassan Reddick, right? Because you're going and walking into double digits. So you got a problem getting after the quarterback? Hold on, we'll fix that. You got a problem in run stopping? Okay, we'll draft Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. Okay, Jordan Davis gets hurt. Okay, we'll make sure we don't go into this having to play. And this came right after the fact. You play Fletcher Cox 70 snaps. Hold on, we can't do that the rest of the year. So I got to go get additions. And credit to Howie, he went and did it. And these guys fit like a glove. Not OJ's glove, but everybody else's that puts gloves on, they fit. I mean, this is impressive. I mean, I can't say it enough. Like we went through a period where we were like, yeah, we're awesome, but we weren't that excited because we were so into the baseball at that moment, right? And everything just felt weird. Like, are we really this good? And then and we loved it. We were talking about it every week, but now the excitement's really ramping up, right? It's really getting to the level of like, okay, everybody wanted to compare us to the Cardinals or the Steelers or other teams that were undefeated, and we tried telling y'all you were wrong, all right? And here we are at 12-1 with an opportunity to go 13-1 and clicking on all cylinders. And we talk about the sacks to the defensive back play, the linebacker play, the offensive line play, the wide receiver play, our running back play, our quarterback play. I mean, what's the negative?
No, you know what the negative is, honestly, and it's has nothing to do with this season. The biggest negative at the moment with this roster is you're not going to be able to bring everybody back.
Well, you're set up to not do that.
True.
So you're going to bring back who you want.
Yes.
And your big pieces. But if you think about it, you can let a guy like Kaiser go.
Yes.
Because you have Nakobe Dean. So you can pick one of those two, whatever one you like better, and you have Nakobe because you set yourself up. You're also going to have probably a top 7 pick, say at worst, right? Yeah. Seven-ish pick. So that right there, now you don't want to draft for need, but that right there can fill it. Your other first-round pick can fill it, right? So you are set up to continue to fill it. And, Ryan, the biggest factor of it all, as we talked about earlier, you're the second youngest team in the National Football League. I mean, think about that. Young teams don't do this. Young teams aren't 12-1 with a second-year head coach, too. I mean, this is – oh, my God. I mean, I can't give enough praise to what we've watched. It doesn't happen. We expect it to be good. But, I mean, you're talking about – and things got to go right for you. But we don't even need things, Greg. Go ahead. But we don't even need things to go right for us. That's how good we are.
No, and I was saying with the way that how he's built this team, it gives you I don't want to say like a pass, but like if you want to go back and bring Fletcher back another year, right? Where we all thought this might have been a swan song, right? And same thing with BG. If you want to give those guys a 2-year front-loaded deal so that they finish their career here in Philly, the recipe that works is to surround that grouping with other guys that can do it as well, so that they can show and be explosive for their small period of time. If you'd have told me BG sniffing 10 sacks a year after his Achilles, I would have told you you were crazy even before the Achilles injury, just based off of him getting older, and it seemed like he was slowing down. It's almost like the Achilles was like the rookie of the year, the throw from Henry Rowengartner. Like it almost rejuvenated him.
Yeah, they give him a little juice.
Give him a little juice. Greg, like he's got a rubber band in his ankle now, so let's go.
Greg, I thought it was like an IOU deal.
Yeah, right? like a pity deal, right? Yep.
Like you're a legend here. Yep. We owe it to you. We want you to finish your career here. Well, the year he's having right now, he's got every right to ask for a 2-year deal.
Sure.
Now, again, I think guys like Fletcher and BG love where they're at. At this point in their careers, they're not in the business of moving, right? They would prefer not to. So as long as you're giving them, market value, these guys are going to stay there. So those two guys I'm not worried about if you need to, like to your point, if you want to give them that extra year.
But us as fans don't question it now, right? Because we see the proof in the pudding that they can still produce it at a quote-unquote NFL older stage, right? You know what I mean? Like 33, 34 is not really old, but in the NFL it is.
But you have the pieces in place, right? You have a guy like Jordan Davis.
Guys, exactly.
Think about this. Hargrave, Cox up, and then go ahead, Ryan. But I'm not saying these guys are good enough replacements for those two guys. I'm just making the point is those two guys are on your roster, though, essentially.
Yep.
Like draft-wise. Like Jordan Davis, Milton Williams were drafted to be your interior defensive tackles, and they both complement each other well, right?
Yep.
If you look at it, they complement each other. Would it be Fletcher and Hargrave? No. But I might not be able to sign Hargrave, but I definitely can get Cox back. Sure. I could probably get Joseph and Sue on one-year deals again, too. You know, if they still want to play football, if you win something, right? I'm talking about if you win something. So, you know, but then again, you're the second youngest roster in the league, and you're only going to get younger with 2 first-round picks again. I mean, I don't want to say dynasty until you win something, but if you look at it on paper, just like we looked on paper before the season, this football team is set up for a while.
Yeah.
For a while. But it's about are these picks hits? How many are hits? Cam Jurgens, right? Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Nakobe Dean, Landon Dickerson, right? Which ones are hits?
Yeah.
Let me just we'll have plenty of time to talk about this in the offseason. I just want to rapid fire you this because there's so many names. Either say have to, as in they have to bring them back, or just say no, okay, after the name I present. So these are all the free agents that the Eagles are going to have to talk to as far as bringing them back after the season. Fletcher Cox, have to or not have to?
Have to with a caveat because I think it's a cheap deal. That's why I say have to, because you can never have enough interior defensive linemen.
I would say don't have to, but should.
I would say should, don't have to, because you have Davis.
Yeah, but isn't should not an answer?
Yeah, you didn't give us an option for should. It was either yes or no.
You told me you have to or no.
Okay, so no.
Yeah, to me, a should is a no. Like you don't have to, but they should.
I'll go have to. I just went on how we can do it and then be okay with it. So I'm gonna.
I think the thing that needs to be understood. That's why I put a caveat in it. Is the leadership. He's a winner. I think it matters.
Yep. So I think Brandon Graham's more important.
I think they both are. We'll get to him.
Well, Brandon Graham next.
Have to.
Have to. Okay, so I'll put more.
Guys with Fletcher Cox. Sorry,
go ahead now.
With Fletcher Cox, look, I'm going to say no, and the only reason why is, look, bottom line is we're not going to be able to keep everybody. You know, once we pay the quarterback, fellas, I mean,
you don't have to pay the quarterback yet.
2 years though.
But you don't have to pay the quarterback next year yet. You can back end that money. You don't have to do that yet. So that's where there's caveats in this. And
his contract will kick in after next year.
So how he can move some money around?
No, he doesn't even know, because, for example, if you sign when they sign Hurts this offseason, it's technically going to be it would be like a 6-year deal, for example. Say they sign him with a 5-year extension, it would end up being a 6-year deal, because he still has a year left on his contract.
Yeah. And that deal, again, if you're guaranteeing a lot of money, you can back end money on that deal. So you can bring. Yeah, you can bring. I'll leave you with this. No, to your point, you can bring guys back for the next 4 years if you do it right. And he would do it right. You still have to have your cap hits, but it can be a little less, little more. 6 year this, it's like, hey, you know what I mean? Years 5 and 6, he's going to be getting a boatload. But at that point, you're hoping that he's won enough that it rises guys up, right? And you can almost get away with it for that year. But you're going to have that window for sure, where to this point, these conversations, that you'll have a 2-3 year window where you can bring guys back.
Okay, so
I mean, don't get me wrong. With Fletcher, I'd love to have him back, but it's just, for me, it's just the matter of, I guess we're not going to be able to keep everybody. That's all.
No, that's fair.
For sure.
So Graham, we all said yes to. So I'll keep track of the ones we all said yes to. Robert Quinn,
no.
Javon Hargrave.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say
again, I would like to. I think he gets outpriced. So I'm going to say no.
He's playing too good.
Say no as well.
Yeah, no.
He's like, as crazy as this is, he's like 5th on the pecking order of guys you need to sign, which is crazy because he's playing really well.
I don't want to necessarily lose him, but he's not a must-have.
Kelsey, it's kind of his decision. He's going to decide it. But no, we have his replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I would say have to on the right deal. If he wants to come back.
Yeah, I just say no because we kind of have his replacement per se.
No, true. But all these are caveats. If guys want to come back on cheaper deals, I'm not going to say no to these three.
I agree with you. I will take him back. Yes.
Sure. Chrome?
I don't think he's a have to, though, because if there's a caveat that it has to be a cheaper deal, you're not saying you have to bring him back. You're saying you would bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
It's all semantics. Yep.
No, I'm going to say if we win the Super Bowl, he goes off in the sunset.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good answer.
I'll say you have to just because if he wants to come back, they're bringing him back.
Yeah, what are you going to? He's going to go play somewhere else?
Yeah,
no. You're going to let this guy go play somewhere else? Like, so if he wants to play, that's the caveat. It's a have to.
Sure.
And you got his replacement gets another year under him. Just to, I mean, it's totally fine. That doesn't hurt.
40 boy, I'm not copping out. I'm saying these guys are guys that have been here forever. Those three guys, like they would come if they want to play football, they would stay here for a few less $1 million over a deal. Like you know what I mean? They're not going to uproot. When you uproot and move, that costs money too. So it's it's not a caveat. These guys want to play football. How am I not bringing these three guys back? It's not a cop out.
James Bradbury.
That's a have to.
I say have to.
Yeah.
That's an absolute must.
Which we were not saying 2 months ago. We were saying, he's going to play out of his contract. You'll replace him. No, he's too important. He's far too important.
I've been on the Bradbury thing from day one. I wish we could have signed him initially for a 2-year deal. I was surprised that we got him in a 1-year deal.
And I think the other side of that too is the upper half of the draft where we're going to have probably the biggest potentially impact player out of there isn't very secondary deep right there. Right, that's more D-line where you can get some help and stuff like that. Your linebackers,
and that's not their MO either. So.
And they haven't, to your point, they haven't gone cornerback early in a long time. So yeah, you'd have to bring him back because you just see what they do.
A lot of no's in here too. No, we're drafting one. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but
we've done this before. We've done this game before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you can't expect a draftee to come in and slide against
how many
across from Slay and beat Bradbury right away.
Also, how many years have we been saying we need to draft a quarterback and we don't do it?
Yeah.
The only time we ever did it was Zach McPherson, special teams player of the week. Which he's a good little player, but no. I would have liked them to take Patrick Surtain or some of those guys, but they just don't do it.
Yeah.
How'd Sidney Jones work out for us?
Oh, that's a name.
Hey, he's still farting around the league though. To his credit, he's not very good. But
I'm very interested with this one. Andre Dillard.
No, I don't have to.
No,
okay. I'm interested to see if anyone tries to be like, we need him for depth. No, the answer is no.
No, I've actually seen enough in like a Driscoll to be at this point to be. See ya.
Well, and also, I mean, you have Jeff Stoutland. You can take somebody literally off the street, and he can
take a rugby guy who's big.
Yep,
so.
That is true.
And again, you're gonna draft somebody like that's an auto draft, right? Not necessarily early, but that's just where they're going draft wise.
At some point.
At some point,
Isaac Seumalo.
You would love to, but no.
I think this ties into Kelsey. If Kelsey comes back, obviously we take him. You let Seumalo walk, and Juergens plays guard.
Yeah, Kelsey leaves, and I think I have to have.
If Kelsey leaves, Juergens plays there. You might have to bring Seumalo back.
Just depends. I agree on that.
Or they elevate Driscoll. Or they elevate
because
Driscoll.
You can't lose 3 offensive linemen in one offseason. That's that's not that organization's MO. So you'd be losing Dillard, Kelsey, and Isaac hypothetically.
Not going to work.
I think that's too much. They wouldn't like that.
Two of which are starters, right, Tom?
Yeah. One of those 2 starters have to be back. Dillard can go, and if Kelsey wants to retire, fine. And I'm not saying all things being equal, if Kelsey's back, I don't need it. We said no to Isaac, but if Kelsey's not, mean, we got a lot of positions to fill up there.
Kaiser White. We talked about it. No, because Nakobe
doesn't have to.
No.
Wouldn't mind it, but no.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he wants to take like a $2 million deal, we'll have you. T.J. Edwards.
I think if you're saying no to Kazir, you got to say yes to TJ.
You got to say yes to one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes.
And I think TJ being the middle guy and being the guy that's calling the plays right now, I think he's going to
matters more.
He's the one that matters more.
Well, and Tom, you and I talked about
this. He's my son.
We talked about this on a Monday back in the summer when like there was early inklings that Nakobe really wasn't going to play. And all the players are saying, like, T.J. Edwards, aside from Brandon Graham, he's kind of the leader of that defense. As crazy as that is to say for an undrafted free agent like he was.
I mean, he's really stepped into his own and stepped into that leadership role in the middle of the field.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to reward that, and I think he's an absolute must to bring back.
But I just depends on what that market is too.
And I don't think his market would get too crazy either. I mean, obviously, I think he would make more. He would get a raise.
Yeah,
he's
making
anything like astronomical that a team's going to overpay T.J. Edwards to come onto their squad.
I think he gets $5 million a year easily.
Yeah, like I was going to say 3 years, 18. You know what I'm saying? Pay him $6 million a year.
I'm perfectly comfortable in that range.
And that's a $4 million upgrade from where he's at because he's making just over $2 million.
Yeah, I like guys back in the system they just played in. I'm a big believer in that. Now, you might lose Gannon, and that's fine, but the next guy up's going to have a similar system, you would assume. So it's not like crazy. But you got to keep some of these guys for sure.
Sue and Joseph, like we said, it's not a have to, but it's a luxury at that point.
Yeah, for $1 million, yeah, sure.
I'll tell you what, though. Hey, fellas, with Sue and Joseph in particular, it's no secret. I think our defending the run, I think we've gotten more stout there, and we've been able to get after the quarterback for pretty consistently most of the year. But man, ever since those two have come on board, I think it really allowed our edge rushers to be even more potent and really get after the quarterback.
And take it a step further too, Noah, because a week or two after they came on is when you got Jordan Davis back too. You really plugged up the middle in a really big way with a lot of size, and in terms of the other two guys, a lot of experience. So
yeah.
And you're right. You're right.
We've forced a lot of opposing offenses into third and long, and we've been really able to pin our ears back and get after the quarterback. And I know we've been talking a lot about our defense and how much improved we've been this season, but it sure helps when the offense is able to sustain drives and stay on the field.
Yeah, no, and to your point too,
and put points on the board and get a big lead. And really, our offense is putting so much pressure on the opposition right now. It's allowing our defense to just pin our ears back, get after the quarterback because they're forced to pass. When they're down by 20 points in the middle of the third quarter, what choice do they have?
Yeah.
Miles Sanders.
No.
Can't.
No.
He's going to get paid somewhere, but you just can't.
Yeah, I don't
know the money. I don't like the idea of extending running backs. Honestly, I feel like once the rookie deal is done,
they're done.
Because the gas starts burning out. The wheels start falling off anyway. I mean, they're talking about the Eagles at 5 taking Bijan Robinson out of Texas.
No, that's only one. That's just McShay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that anywhere else though.
Howie Roseman would rather retire than take a running back in the top 5.
Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I'll take a stud. Like the way my roster's built. Like, I'll take a stud.
Sure.
Like, I'm not against game-changing players. So if Robinson's that guy and my roster is what I expect it to be overall, I ain't against going because listen. At the end of the day, I got a 4 to 5 year window to win as many as I can. So if that plays right into a rookie deal, now I'm not in love with that. That's not my MO either. But if there's a can't miss guy there and he's the best player on the board, let's go eat. I think give me an extension.
I'll tell you.
To your point, though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to your point, you don't re-sign Miles. Your running back room is weak, though. right?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you something that helps
there
them.
Definitely needs to be something high-ish on the board. I don't know if like 5 or 7 is that guy. Is that?
Well, I'll tell you what helps the Eagles in that sense. If anyone who gets a second, take a look at the incoming running back free agents list. It's incredible.
Oh, there's a ton of guys.
So you're going to have choices. And also, you know what that could do? That can lower Miles Sanders' price tag because he's dealing with Kareem Hunt and Jacobs. And I think there's a handful of other guys that are like, oh, wait, they're available?
Well, Jacobs going to get the bag for sure.
Yep.
After the years he has. And then Miles probably comes in number 2 on that.
The second one, yeah.
Yeah, so
over Kareem?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because Miles has no baggage with him.
Fair. That is fair.
And not even the baggage. He's played and he's produced at a high level this year. This year is going to get him paid. Now, I don't think it's going to, he's going to be underneath. He's going to be on that second tier, but it's out of my price range. But I'm good with that third tier. Like I got no problem paying the third tier, and I got no problem drafting Bijan Robinson either. So Bijan Robinson, I don't care if he's the best player on the board. Then let's go eat. Like again, I won't do that if I stink. See, Crumb, most teams, this is the problem, right, Crumb? Most teams in the top 5 to 7 or even 10 stink.
You're right on that. We have a different caveat.
So you shouldn't be doing that. But if you're loaded up, then you go get that. If that dude's a game changer, which he obviously is, being talked about going up that high, right? Going that high. If he's that good and he's a can't miss, you're an idiot not to take him then if you're ready to win like you are now. But if you stink as an organization like the Giants, I love Saquon. Should have never taken Saquon.
Over a quarterback?
Like even Zeke and Dallas, that's a bad pick. Now, the pick isn't bad. What happened is you extending him was bad. See, that's the problem.
When he's the second best running back on the roster.
Yeah, exactly. So the pick wasn't bad because actually they were closer to try. They weren't good, ready to win, but that was a pick that got them there, got them closer, and it was a can't miss. But then they got their quarterback, right? And they started getting things, but they haven't won shit. But it's that second deal that kills them, So
a couple more. Because again, like Boston Scott, no. Zach Pascal, no. Lovato, Opita, Tyree Jackson, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think he's aside from your quarterback, he's number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's 1 or 2. Depends on how you want to rank him out.
I'm actually still shocked he's not extended right now.
Well, hurt.
The way he's hurt. Yes, but
I know what you're thinking.
The way Howie works in the middle of the year, right? To restructure deals, to extend guys. Like I'm actually shocked he didn't before he got hurt, or even now. Now you're damaged goods now. But I'm shocked he's not extended because he's a must. Yes,
I'm shocked that Howie has not pulled his mid-season extension for anyone because by this point he's done 2 of them every season.
Well, I think there's some factors that go into it too.
The quarterback.
Well, we talked about that. I mean, you have a 3-year window to sign guys, so that's not like the end all be all to your roster. I think it's a wait and see too. Like, I mean, he did bring 2 guys in, right? He did trade for a guy, so they sort of, it's not like he wasn't being active. Just not a typical, but as soon as Gardner-Johnson gets hurt, that's where I feel like Howie swoops in and gets them for less. You know what I mean? But it doesn't work for everybody, right?
It was like the old Joe Banner. As soon as an offensive guy showed signs of being anything decent, let's go get you a deal.
Well, it's Howie Roseman chestnut checkers because Gardner-Johnson goes out. Reed Blankenship looks like Ed Reed. They bring back Anthony Harris, Kayvon. They're going to win a Super Bowl with Blankenship, Harris, Epps, and the ghost of Kayvon Wallace, and they're gonna be like, "Well, we didn't need you, Gardner-Johnson. Here's $2 million." Like that would be Howie Roseman 2.0. That's the ultimate Howie Roseman move. So okay. Other than that, though, would you put Epps in the must re-sign? Like he's a good little player, but no,
he's not a must. But maybe for the price he is.
And finally, Minshew.
No, I mean it's always good to have a backup. So sure. I'll say must because it's not going to cost you a lot of money. You know what I mean? Unless he wants to go be a starter.
If someone comes knocking for a second or third rounder, I'm bye.
Oh yeah, for sure. But if I can have a backup just in case, I
completely agree with you.
It's always a good thing.
I'll
a backup
with the 18 games now.
We'll draft one.
Yeah, we'll just draft one in the second round.
Yeah, again.
Or we could just bring back Wentz.
You know.
We could just bring back Wentz and have him be the backup. Just
we really could. Probably at this point, he might be available next year.
And we might be the only team that calls him.
About it. He will be available.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
He might be happy to take the job. It's either that or the XFL.
Yeah, wouldn't that be some shit? Full circle comes back as the backup.
That would be amazing, by the way.
So in this little exercise, this is actually perfect. The only musts that we all said was 4 guys: Gardner Johnson, Graham, Bradbury, Edwards. That's it. That we all universally said yes to.
And it's a good number.
Yeah.
I think there's more in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could argue for probably 6. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So whatever. It's good.
So I guess we're all on the consensus that we're only bringing back Miles Sanders for the right price.
Yeah,
that's something that's extremely cost efficient. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not a shot at him. It's just he's not priority.
Right. Well, look at what's happening to Zeke Elliott. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Dallas made the mistake of giving him a big contract, and the Cowboys might be having a decent year, but by no means
better.
Huh?
Well,
I said, but to your point, Tony Pollard's better.
Right.
Yeah. Way more versatile.
There's only so many miles, and he only has so many carries left in. Yeah, I know, right? He only has so many carries left in the tank.
Yeah, and again, like Miles has been awesome, but we have to remember, and this factors in when you're talking about extending somebody, you have to take the whole picture into account. For a majority of he's been playing, this is his 4th year, correct? 3 of those years, he was a disappointing lack of consistency rotational running back. Right?
Right.
Like first year, his rookie year, which was the best year of his career before, obviously, 2022, he was in a timeshare with Jordan Howard. Year afterwards, dealt with injuries and fumbles consistently. Year afterwards, dealt with injuries and fumbles consistently and had no impact in the passing game, which they needed him for. Now you come into a contract year, he's been arguably, aside from the quarterback, one of the most integral part of the offenses. But you have to factor in you have to factor in 3/4 of the career when you talk about
his career, which have been a pretty big disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Let's run through the slate real quick and then let's get the hell out of here. You've got.
I'll send my locks in. I gotta go to bed. I gotta get up for work in 4 hours.
Okay.
I will say this: you guys were definitely saved last week that we scrapped it, because I know me and this guy down here who supposedly doesn't get very much right. We were all over the Rams last week when 2 people locked in on the Raiders.
Well, for the record, I did say I was pulling the ultimate sacrifice to get our pick better. I did say that.
Yeah.
And also, it's the Raiders. Come on, it's the Raiders.
Yes, sir.
Chrome, don't feel bad. I got to be up at 4:30. You want me to give you a call?
Fuck, I might actually. Yeah. All right, boys. It's been a pleasure. See you next week. Go Birds.
Yes, sir.
Later, brother.
Have fun at work.
Quick thing before I leave. I don't know if you guys saw the story about DJ Twitch today. You never know if somebody needs somebody. And if you need some help, freaking reach out and talk to somebody, guys. Some sad shit. So anyway, it's the holidays. It's a lonely time. Reach out and talk to somebody. Love you guys. Take it easy.
See you, brother.
Love you, bro. Be good.
All right. We start off tomorrow. Again, the quarterback situation is in question for the Niners. Brock Purdy is questionable. But assuming he plays, the 49ers are 3.5-point favorite going on the road to Seattle. Over-under is set at 43.
Give me Niners, no lock.
Niners, no lock.
Even with if the line's still there with the uncertainty at quarterback, it kind of tells me the Niners. And if they're the team that everybody thinks they are, they should be able to go on the road and beat Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Seattle.
So to say, that being said, I was about to change my pick.
You've got Indianapolis.
Noah?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
You're good. Give me, you know what? Give me Seattle. It's tough to win on the road.
Indianapolis traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 4-point favorites. Over under 48.
Lock me in on the Vikings.
Same. I'm rooting for the Colts, but I don't think that's going to really matter.
Line's weird. Vikings don't win by a lot. Their point, their margin of victory is a little weird for their record. But give me them the cover, but I'm not locking it.
Noah?
So wait, the Indianapolis Saturdays. Actually, they are playing on Saturday, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. And it won't matter. The Vikings will absolutely demolish them.
I think so too. I mean, they're a team.
And the only reason I say that, well, partly the Colts suck. Oh, and number 2, the Colts suck. And number 3, the Vikings actually have something still left to play for. They must win this ball game if they want to have any shot at keeping pace with the Birds for home field advantage.
And their panic meter is at probably 6 right now.
Yeah, they got a little embarrassed last week.
And they're coming off it. Did they lose the week prior? Are they coming off of 2 losses, or did they win the week prior? I can't remember. I know they beat. I know they beat the Vikings.
It wasn't pretty, but they won.
Who was that against, Greg? Sorry,
I forget. I can look in 2 seconds.
I know they beat the Patriots on Thanksgiving. I just don't know if that was the week or that was 2 weeks before.
They beat the Jets 27-22.
That's right. The Jets friggin' blew it. I'm still pissed.
Yeah,
wide open receiver and he dropped it. Next game, Ravens. I would assume it's Tyler Huntley, even though he was banged up in this past week's game. Traveling to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are actually 3-point favorites. The over-under is set at 37.
What?
I'm gonna lock this in Browns.
Yeah,
I don't even think it matters who plays quarterback. It's not Lamar, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock Browns in somehow too. I don't know why, but I'll lock Browns.
Greg, they weren't that great with Lamar.
You're absolutely right.
Noah?
How bad? I know Lamar's hurt. How badly?
It's no shot. It's either Huntley or
Perkins.
Yeah,
whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Perkins.
Huntley's getting concussion, and then it was whoever the third stringer was.
Perkins is on the Rams, so it's not him. Somebody in the chat will tell me. Some guy that should not be.
So is Lamar going to miss a significant amount of time?
Yes.
Yeah, probably the rest of December, at least from what I heard. They hope to have him ready for the playoffs if they make the playoffs.
No, I knew he was. He was hurt. I forgot how badly.
He's a kid from Oregon. Anthony Brown. Yeah, the kid from Oregon. Actually, a New Jersey kid.
Oh, there you go. Rooting for him. He's not going to win, but rooting for him. The Dolphins traveling to Buffalo. This is expected to be a snow game. The Bills are 7-point favorites. Over under set at 43.5.
The Bills blow them out. They want revenge. They lost to Miami earlier in the season, down in Miami. This game's in Buffalo. Buffalo wants to sew up this division, and for them to have a shot at that, they really they need this one bad, and Miami's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I'll take Buffalo. I'm not locking it, though. I'll take Buffalo.
Bills.
Divisional game. You talk snow, you almost want to think it's close, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with Neville said. So give me the Bills, no lock.
You've got the Eagles traveling to Chicago. Eagles 9-point favorites. Over under 48.5.
Yeah, I think we all went Eagles.
Yes.
By our score predictions, right?
Yeah, I'm Eagles, and you can lock this up.
Give me the Eagles. Lock it up, and you can lock the under.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't know. I see us getting off to a little bit of a. I'm sorry.
No, he was just asking what the over/under was. It was 48.5, Tom.
Yeah, I think you can lock that under. I see our defense playing very well, holding. I think we hold Chicago to 13 or less points. We may even hold them into single digits. And I don't know. I see us getting off to a little bit of a slow start offensively, and I think we pull away in the fourth quarter.
If I'm doing my math properly, I would have us also getting the under because I have 30-17.
Yeah.
Right.
Just barely. It's a sweat, but I just got it. Next game, you have Dallas traveling to Jacksonville. I mentioned how the line could be weird to some people. Dallas are only 4-point favorites. Over under 48.
Yeah, lock in the Jaguars.
For the best team in football? I mean, how does that work out?
For a team that is, other than the Ravens, Jacksonville has been one of the worst fourth quarter teams of the year.
Nope, give me the Jags. Lock it in.
Yeah, I'll go Jags. Not going to lock it, but I like the Jags.
Yeah, I'll go Jags also.
I think half of Dallas is going to stay in Dallas for Christmas Eve.
Give me the Jacksonville Petersons in an upset.
We all know it was a lock that Noah was going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
We knew
Big
that.
upset. Here we go. Jags money line, baby.
Oh, hello.
We've got this might be the biggest margin, or the biggest line of the year so far, at least in my memory. The Chiefs traveling to Houston. Any guesses for anybody who hasn't seen it? Anyone want to guess what the line is?
16.
21.5. Because it was 17 last week for Dallas.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm a liar. So it wasn't. It's not the greatest then.
Oh, and what?
It's
14?
less than that. Yes, it's 14.
Okay.
And what's funny, I'm getting alerts from other fantasy leagues I'm in. There's people picking up Jeff Driscoll right now. I don't get it.
What?
I'm like, why is somebody picking up Jeff Driscoll? You have that little quarterback depth that you need Jeff Driscoll? Or is Jeff Driscoll going to sling this week?
I wouldn't bet on the second one, Greg.
Me either. But I will take him with plus the points. I will take Houston plus the points.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, they had a hard time getting rid of the Broncos last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Texans. What the hell? Noah?
I don't know. The Chiefs sooner or later here are going to start rounding into playoff form. And, I know they've been winning maybe some weeks less than impressively, but I think they're due to put a 40 or 45 burger on the Texans here.
Detroit.
I see the Chiefs covering rather easily.
Well, Texans want to lose, so give me the Chiefs.
Last week was too close for them.
Uh-huh.
Had the ball on the 5-yard line to win the game. They couldn't do it.
No, we're going to give it back.
We're going to give it right back to you. And we'll let you go right down the field, too, by the way. Yeah.
Of course, right when I turned that game on, I literally turned the Eagles game off so I could see the end of that. And as soon as that happens,
you'll love this. I was down in Florida for the Birds and Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They freaking shut.
Uh-oh.
Did he shut himself off?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Noah.
There we go. My bad. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Anyway, what just happened to me there happened to the Eagles-Giants game. Fox fucking switched to the Cowboys-Texans game. I was so fucking mad.
Yes, they did.
Noah just pulled off a little visual reference. with that.
They're like, this
go.
game you're watching sucks. Let's go to something that's a little bit closer. You go to freaking Giant or the Dallas game. Like, come on.
I'm so fucking mad.
Detroit traveling to the New York Jets. The Jets are 1-point favorites. Over under 45.5. Jets lock, 100%.
I'm sorry. Who are the Jets playing?
The Lions.
The Lions.
In
New York,
Dan
or
Campbell's.
technically New Jersey. In New Jersey.
Give me the Lions.
I was going to say, Ryan, you're locking the Jets. I'm going to lock the Lions.
No. Oh, no. Did I say
I was
lock
going to
Jets?
say, don't
You
the
said lock
Lions
Jets.
still have
sorry,
an
lock-
outside shot at the playoffs here?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, they both do. No, I'm sorry.
Especially when you factor in Washington and the Giants play. So one of them is going to be one of those is out. Well, I'm not saying out, but one of those is down the line now.
If I said lock Jets, do the exact opposite. It was lock Lions.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
You
not
did
lock
say Jets, so that's where I was like,
Okay.
good. I'm on the line.
Yeah. So I was lock Jets for 2 seconds. I'll change my mind. I'll go lock Lions.
They're playing well. They're physical.
I'm really excited to see Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Sauce Gardner.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
That'll be very fun. That'll be very, very fun. And also, Mike White versus Jared Goff. I'm sure, we're all lined up for that also.
Sauce is a stud.
Oh, yes, he is. Absolutely is. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Carolina Panthers, who apparently are now trying to make the playoffs. The Panthers are 3-point favorites. The over-under 37.5.
Give me the Steelers.
This in Pittsburgh?
No, Carolina.
Do we know anything about Kenny Two Gloves?
Doesn't matter.
Yes. Are you trusting Mitch Trubisky? I actually trust Kenny Pickett more than Trubisky.
It's a wash for me because I'm taking the Panthers.
Oh, touche.
So it doesn't matter who's over there.
Yeah, I'm locking the Steelers this week.
Kenny Pickett was limited
Yeah,
participation in practice.
give me the Steelers.
Give me Steelers.
Falcons with Desmond Ridder making his debut, taking on the New Orleans Saints. I believe it's still going to be Andy Dalton. Not that it really matters. Any quarterback over there is not going to be that great. The Saints are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 43.5. I'm going Saints just because of their defense. Their defense against the
Yeah.
Give me the Falcons because it'll help the Eagles draft pick position.
Oh, I'm rooting for them.
And on that note, fellas, I got to go to bed. Have a great evening.
See you, brother.
Later now.
Yeah. Later, brother. Come
Go
right behind.
Birds. Root them in.
Let's go.
Give me the Saints.
Next team, the Patriots travel to Las Vegas. Patriots 1-point favorites, over under 45.5.
Vegas getting some guys back.
Two big ones.
Give me
Who are they
Vegas.
getting back?
Renfro and Waller.
Oh, really?
Yep. At least they're activated.
Yep, give me Vegas.
Yeah, give me Vegas.
Same.
Weird line though. I see even. You see +1 for Vegas, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
Very strange when you're talking about getting like your best offensive players back, like 2 or your 3.
I think that's Vegas saying both teams kind of suck, and we don't know which one's worse. We're like, the Raiders are supposed to be great, but they suck, and
who's
Patriots
going to blow it late first, right?
Yes, exactly. Is Mac Jones going to yell at Patricia first, or the Raiders going to choke? The Arizona Cardinals with, I guess it's Colt McCoy. Going up against against Denver.
It would be Rippin.
So it's Colt McCoy against Brett Rippin.
Brett Rippin, yeah. Unless Russell comes out like Willis Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Where's this game at?
Denver. Over under set at 36. I feel like the over under should be at 26.
Give me the Broncos.
Yeah, give me Denver though. They got a really stingy defense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially their secondary, and that leads right to Arizona's best, right? D-Hop and stuff like that.
Jeez, that might be if they have more than 10,000 people watching that game, that's a lot of bored people watching that game.
Yeah.
Cincinnati traveling to Tampa Bay. Cincinnati 3.5-point favorites, over under 44.
Tampa home dog, huh?
Give me the Bucks.
Give me
Bengals.
Bucks.
Tennessee traveling to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-point favorites, but I guess it's a wash just because of the home road thing. Over under is set at 47.5.
A weird line. Give me the Titans.
Yep.
Give me a lock on the Chargers. This is the Chargers. This is where they usually make their late season run.
Yep. And then they'll miss the playoffs by a game. Yep.
And plus, I don't. We obviously abused the Tennessee secondary.
Yes.
The Chargers wide receivers are finally healthy. I would have to think that bodes well for Justin Herbert.
Healthiest they've been all season.
Yeah. So give me the Chargers at home.
Yeah. Give me the next. Let's fly through this. How many more we got left?
Two more.
Before I fall asleep here. All right.
Yeah.
Giants traveling to Washington. Washington 4.5-point favorites. Over under 45. Or I'm sorry, 40.5.
Washington.
Washington.
Give me the Commanders at home. No luck.
And finally, the Rams traveling to Green Bay. Green Bay 7-point favorites. Over under 39.5.
Green Bay shouldn't give anybody that many.
Exactly.
Give anybody that many points. So give me the Rams. They stink. But
Rams me.
Packers. And that concludes.
All right, everybody. Thank you out there for listening. We every week's a big one, so we got a big one leading up to a real big one.
Right. Real quick, Tommy, before we get out, Ryan, do you have that graphic that Frank sent you?
Frank sent me something, I believe. Here you go.
There you go.
Oh Lord, what is that?
Starting on Monday, we are doing A2D 12 days of giveaways, gift cards from our sponsors, Gleason's, BOAGGIO'S, All Campus, A2D merch. Some jerseys, maybe some tickets. So each day we'll be giving away something to our A2D Yahoo subscription members. So that is the only caveat.
YouTube members.
YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. What did I say?
Yahoo.
Yahoo.
I was like, wait a second. We're on Yahoo. We're on Yahoo.
So you can get that. You can, if you want to become a member, all you got to do is just go in our description on YouTube
hit the link.
Hit the link, become a member. Win prizes. Let's go.
Each day we'll hop on, either do a video or hop into the show, spin the wheel, give away some prizes. Like I said, starting on Monday, the 19th.
All right. So our members, make sure on YouTube you guys are keeping a lookout for member-only videos to see what you won, if you won or if you didn't. So listen, let's go get one. 13-1. Right in our vision. And I believe the Sixers have a big one Friday night against Golden State. So that's a big game. Sixers going for 4 in a row, trying to play some good basketball, especially with this little bit of a long homestand here. And so a lot of good things. Trey Turner's a Philly, so that's glorious, even though we talked about it last week. Appreciate you all listening. Frank Vespi was on. There was no Ralph Dalvecchio. Michael Chromiak in a onesie. Noe Eaton late night. Greg Mwakovic. Ryan Brodo. I'm Tom Arnone. Jalen Hurts. Don't talk shit about him. Don't talk any more shit. Talking shit. It's our quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Have another big week, Jalen. I hope Jalen has a monster week just to keep shutting people up. I don't even care about the MVP curse. We can break that curse too. You know what I mean? We'll be the team that just breaks curses. We'll break our own. Now we'll break the MVP curse. Well, how about an MVP guy wins the Super Bowl? All right? You can have it both ways. So I ain't scared of that. All right, Greg? I know you are.
I'm not scared of it.
I feel like you are.
No, bring it on. There's one kid that can beat it. It's this kid.
Defines all the odds. And we're defying the odds, and we're going to bed. Later.